swap over. Good evening, everyone. The old camera's back because I don't have a good setup yet, so we're back to the janky MX Brio that we did with the Lego build, but it's a camera. I don't know where my Razer camera is. Probably in my suitcase, and I'm too lazy to get it. So I wanted to start off tonight. This isn't really game related, but it really is sad. Some of you had heard Gene Hackman died recently, and his wife died, and also his dog died. And it was just really suspicious, and no one knew why. Well, we later learned that the wife died, and that Gene Hackman had Alzheimer's, which I might have heard about or didn't know, but I definitely would have forgotten. I just slipped my mind. And so him being 95 died about a week later because evidently his brain was so far gone that he just couldn't take care of himself, which is really fucking sucks. And so then to add insult to injury, I don't know if they mentioned it this story, the dog died because the dog was locked up and couldn't feed itself. So you had this chain reaction of just terrible situations on this whole time frame. Like I'm trying to formulate words. Like, some people didn't really grow up I grew up with Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman is my Lex Luthor. I remember him in Birdcage. It was an interesting sight to see him dressed in drag, trying to escape from, I think he was playing a senator at the time. He had to escape the Birdcage. So they dressed him in drag for the character. And it was interesting. Fantastic to see. But he will always be my Lex Luthor. So it was really sad to hear that, like, this is how his legacy ended. And I'd heard about this just at dinner. Not that he died, but just the manner in which he died. And that his Alzheimer's just really didn't help the situation. There's something was written somewhere that there was medicine just sprawled all around. The wife was in the bathroom. He died in a mud room. Like, this sucks. This is just really bad. I know I'm starting off with like, yeah, really great story, but this one I really couldn't not mention something about this. He had not eaten anything recently, but shown no indication of dehydration. He probably couldn't figure out how to make food. It was really unfortunate. But he had a great career. I remember seeing the Royal Tenenbaums. He played a really interesting... His character was definitely an asshole. And he played him a little too well because I didn't like his character. Alzheimer's and dementia are fucking evil. They really are. Bruce Willis has dementia. And if you've ever seen... There's a video that Red Letter Media did. Oh boy, this brightness. There we go. There's a video that Red Letter Media did. They discovered recently that Bruce Willis had done like 11 movies in 1 year. And it turns out that he had been doing them just like his brain was damn near gone. I'll explain this bit in a bit. I needed a dark screen because I'm looking at the camera and it's just like bright flash. But yeah, Bruce Willis did like 11 movies in 2022. Just like spit them out. Just like no one saw them, but they made movies somehow. And then shortly after Red Letter Media's video came out, boom, it was announced, okay, Bruce Willis is retiring because he has Alzheimer's. It's like, did Red Letter Media bring that to everyone's attention? Maybe. So, no, the reason I have Hunger Games and film stuff is, move that over. Bellular News came out with a video, and the video came out because Marvel Rivals team was laid off, and it shocked everybody, and no one really had an answer as to why. Bellular News covered a lot of it, and they brought on some good points of why the team was laid off. Of that, a lot of U.S. development teams are going overseas. That just having game companies in the U.S. doesn't seem to be a trend much anymore. A lot of popular games are very much in Europe or over in Japan. And somewhere in the psyche, executives like, well, let's just keep all our game companies over there. They still had a bunch of why questions, and it's like they were so close to the answer. And I almost wish I could like talk with Bellular and say, here's the missing key. Here's what I've noticed. And my theory, my loosely speculative theory, which you also see me post about live action PowerPoint Grill like I can. Thankfully, hey, some people might have wanted that. Some people might have wanted that. Don't get sick, folks. Wash your hands. My loose theory, which I have a few examples as to why I think this is, of why this game was doing incredibly well. It was making money. There was barely anything wrong with it. Players were loving it. Those three components there told me one thing that matched with the layoffs. The project's done. And you probably are thinking, well, why would a game company do that? They would hire these people. You think like that if you're in Hollywood. Charlie said one of the dumbest things. Charlie says a lot of dumb stuff, but he said one of the dumbest things. There was a video, I think Phil DeFranco, so I couldn't find the clip, but he said, you only see this in the games industry. No, you don't, Charlie. No, you fucking don't. If you've been on a film set or known people who have been on film sets, you'd understand this is exactly what happens in the film industry. Once the film is done, principal photography and majority of post-production, everyone loses their job. Everyone's job's done. You sign up. I've known people who have been in, I've known actors, I've known directors, stunt coordinators. They all sign paperwork that says once this project's done, you will get your last paycheck and that's it. And my theory is you have a bunch of film executives that in the 2010s, maybe around the time of Avengers Endgame, you saw them start to see the diminishing returns. And executives love to be ahead of the game. They love projections. They love to think that they can see the future because they have their little graphs and their projections. They have their own little meetings and they jerk each other off and whatnot. I think a handful of executives were doing their little projections and they saw the diminishing returns. And a few of them got together and they said, this is not a viable industry. Where can we go? The games industry. And many of these executives already have connections. In 2006, I think, Nvidea was boasting, because I was at PDX Land in Portland, Oregon, and it was sponsored primarily by Nvidea. I know this because I have a bunch of posters that were plastered around the walls because Nvidea was really wanting to just show off. They had 100 articles, I think, showing that Nvidia was doing better than, at the time, I think it was ATI. This is before AMD kind of took over. ATI was the big competitor. And AMD was really proud about the fact that they were dominating the market. And one of the things that they were proud of bragging about was the fact that they had done the graphics for Battlestar Galactica. Way back then, Nvidia was doing that sort of thing. And it's, as someone who, like, nobody like me, who has loose connections to Hollywood, like Red Letter Media and I have a loose connection to the film Never Been Kissed. Red Letter, Mike Stoklasa and Jay. Hey, Wade. Welcome. Mike Stacklasa and, not Jay, Rich Evans were extras in the movie Never Been Kissed. I knew one of the actors. The actor who gave Drew Barrymore the weed brownie, which is probably a clip you can pull up right now. That guy's name is David Douglas. He's a stunt actor in his own right. And I had worked with him. He came up for a stunt choreographing seminar that my instructor had put on at the school that I was at. And so he was there for a week, and we got to talk about all kinds of movies and stuff. And so, yeah, he was in that movie. He was also in another movie with Mark Dacascos. It was some French movie. Him and Mark were over there, and they did it. Well, other small world thing, I knew Mark Dacascos' dad, Al Dacascos, because he had a stunt choreographing school and another self-defense school in Portland, Oregon, before he retired to Hawaii. So, and I'm a nobody. So, like, it's not that difficult to build connections. You know, executives are building connections with these game developers and these graphics render engineers. They're building those connections, and I think you saw a handful of them who weaseled their way into the games industry, and they are now treating these game projects like film projects, where when principal photography, or what they consider principal photography, i.e. the game is developed and ready to drop or ship, that's the end of principal. Post-production is anything that needs to be patched like day one. Well, if there's nothing left to do on the project, nuke the team. Now, we've made $100 million. We don't need 250 people. Drop most of the people. Oh, everything else is done. We only need a level designer, a handful of programmers, a texture artist. 15, 20 people, nuke everybody else. Games are becoming films because I think you have a bunch of executives out there who are treating these like films. And I think you're going to start to see this a lot more. Like, the Marvel Rivals that is like the perfect scenario for these executives. Everything went perfectly. People love the game. They're making a lot of money. Nuke the team. Let's move on to the next project. Because for them, it's not about keeping the people on. It's about these people did what they needed to do. All right, we're done. Let's move on. It's a very cold industry. That's why some people can't handle the film industry, because thank you for your work. We might use you again, but for this project, you're done. You're out of a job. And that's the one thing that I feel like Bellular was so close to tapping into. They themselves were asking, like, we don't know why they did this. I think this is why. Because, and here's this other article, Out of Hollywood, Rising Fascination with Video Games. Peter Jackson going into video games. There was a list of directors. I can't remember where I saw it. There was a list of directors who had worked on video games. A lot of people know Gabriel del Toro famously worked with Hideo Kojima. That one made headlines, but there's been a bunch of other. I can't remember where I saw it. Probably wouldn't be able to pull it up, but you are going to start to see a lot more of this, I think. Unfortunately, you yourself could see the signs of this. You look at a game, and if it's doing well, there's very little problems, it's making a lot of money, I would expect at some point to see a series of layoffs. Just out of the blue. Because we're done. Expect to see that more. I'm a cynical bastard who expects negativity at AAA, and so I think you're going to start seeing this a lot more. I hope to be wrong. I really do. I don't like seeing the negativity, but my brain sees these patterns and sees where these things go. And when I see articles like this, I just think, oh no. This can't go right. You know, we want the developers to be rewarded. We want them to be given more projects. Well, evidently the idea is that they will have to go do that themselves. And that most people don't realize that when you are hired on with a lot of these teams, you are a contractor. You're a contractor. Like the whole like at will employment, that is one aspect that, you know, that's the legalese. The other aspect is you're a contractor. We're only going to use you if we need you. Which is why you tend to hear about like texturists. Oh, hello, Bonzi. Hello, girl. You tend to hear of texture artists that they have nothing to do. So they're just making stuff for the sake of like DLC because they really want to justify their job and they want to keep having work. Bonzi, come on over here. So I unfortunately see more layoffs down the road. I think Bellular is right about a lot of what they say, which is that game companies are going to start moving overseas. I did some more reading on one of the stories I'd covered previously on, what the hell was it? Grin Studios, in that apparently Capcom and the studio did not get along well. And one of the quotes from Capcom is, "We now understand Western studios versus Eastern studios." And that basically tells me, oh, okay, I see. You don't like the way Western studios does things. Why? There's something that keeps wanting to like play audio, and I haven't narrowed it down yet. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that going. So yeah, that's one thing I wanted to cover. Oh yeah, this is another one. Hunger Games film studio moves into game business. I was reading this guy had spent a bunch of money buying or dropping like he dropped a bunch of money into making a game. Yeah, not really covered by that. This one really piqued my interest though. This one, oh boy. Steve's coverage of the DLSS 4.0, it answered a lot of questions that I had, specifically in recent games that I had played, such as Hellblade 2. They have the whole DLSS thing in there. And the way that it's explained is really weird with the way that the hardware is designed. I'll let... there's a segment where they have Patrick explain the frame generation.
Frame generation falls under the DLSS umbrella, even though it's not directly tied to upscaling or supersampling. DLSS 3.5 added ray reconstruction to the DLSS family, and now DLSS 4 adds multi-frame generation 3x and 4x, as well as changing the underlying model for the other DLSS features. So, DLSS 4, DLSS 3.5, DLSS 3 at Alia are groups of features and updates. If a game has DLSS 4, that means it has some of the DLSS 4 features from this chart, most likely multi-frame generation, but not necessarily all of them. The claims that with 50 series AI handles 15 out of every 16 pixels to multiply frame rates by up to 8x are based on using the maximum 4x MFG setting with the DLSS super resolution set to performance, which was formerly the minimum quality setting. That would mean that at 4K, one 1080 frame would be rendered for every 4 frames displayed. As for MFG...
MFG is available for 50 series cards, and as of writing this, no other cards support multi-frame generation. Now, frame generation can be supported elsewhere, but MFG is unique right now to the 50 series. But it's also the centerpiece for Nvidia's misleading marketing slides, where it depicted the 5090 as doing 2 times the performance of the 4090. This misleading chart that we've already talked about in the review is because MFG includes 4x, which is up to 3 AI frames for every 1 rendered frame. MFG also includes 3x, or up to 2 AI frames.
It's where Steve starts to get into his rambles and whatnot. But the short of that, you can go through the whole 38 minutes. Oh, hi, Muffin. There's nothing here for you. Cats be wandering in. If you want to go through the full 38 minutes, the short of it is Nvidia is using AI built into their cards to generate more frames to view on your screen than what the game is sending to the card. So if the game is sending, say, 48 frames to the card will generate potentially the 48 frames. Ah, good evening, Helena. Welcome. Yes, there is a Muffin here. He's doing good. He's wanting food. He wants the food. So yeah, the game will send the 48 frame request to the card. The card will generate presumably the 48 frames if it can do it. And also every so often it will just artificially whip frames out of thin air to also send to the screen. And then it will also register these frames as improved frames. So that screams into my brain potential lying. So like if you want 60 frames a second and you have whatever settings, excuse me, food. You want a game to go 60 frames a second and you have whatever settings are there. With this artificial frame generation, if you're getting these frames, then potentially somewhere you could be not getting, in reality, like if you take this artificial DLSS bullshit away, what are you really getting? You're not getting the 60 frames potentially if the DLSS is gone. What are you really gaining? And the fact that this DLSS has been around, this is the 4th generation of it. Like, why is this a thing? And this video is from a month ago. Steve has done... Well, let's look. No. How many videos has he done on the failed frames? Well, he's done a lot on the 50. There's another. I think. So 3, including the one that we looked at. Oh, there we go. Well, no, defective GPUs. He's done 3 videos on essentially what is AI-generated frames. Meaning the game is not making them themselves. The game engine is not generating these frames. The video card is just giving them to you in effort to what? Is that why they're able to say 240 frames? You'll sell me as Emma. She's a pain. Oh, Emma. She's a pain in my ass. I don't know if that would work because Bonzi is very territorial. Very territorial. But yeah, that my brain breaks over the thought that I'm getting a card and like when I play a game, I load up something like Abiotic Factor. I don't entirely care if I'm getting 90 frames. I want like at least 60 frames. I want something smooth. But am I now going to have to worry about whether or not my card is essentially lying to me and say, "Oh, you're getting 140 frames. Take away 30 to 40% of those frames. What are you really getting?" Excuse me. And the fact that the industry thinks this is fine. This is good. This is normal. No. I never asked for fake frame generation. Who did? I would like to know who asked for fake frame generation. What I wanted was better performance, more speed. I guess you could say some better fidelity, like being able to handle details better. I didn't ask for AI to start generating frames to convince me that I had more speed than what I really did. Because that's what it seems like here. Like father, like kid. You taught her well. Yeah. Coughs abound. This might not be a big deal for other people, but it's a big deal for me, and it makes me just say I want nothing to do with DLSS. I'm glad that I tend to turn it off, because I want my games to spit out what they're supposed to. If, like, I've ran into this problem. Greetings, Alan Jones. Welcome. I see you got your account taken care of. Good to see that. Sorry that happened to you. Hope it wasn't too difficult to get that squared away. But if I'm playing something, like I was playing, lost my train of thought there for a moment. I was playing Hellblade 2. And occasionally I would run into some slower frame rate because, well, I've got a 3070. It's not the best card. I was running it at 1080. Sometimes I would have to drop it down, drop some graphics settings down because there was more graphically intense stuff. I'm fine with dropping the quality down because I want the frame rate. I don't care if it starts to kind of look like a Lego brick. I'm there for the story. I'm there for the environment. That's what I'm there for. I didn't buy this thing for these developers. Excuse me. Wow. I didn't buy this thing so that developers and card manufacturers could lie to me and say, oh, you're getting 90 frames. Psych. He's really only getting 32. Like, your cards are not worth... That is just one aspect. Obviously, there's more issues with the 50 series. And I'm really hoping for that good old AMD. That's looking good. Daracuda, good evening. Oh, I missed Skytech saying something. I didn't teach this demon any of this. This house was moderately clean when I left this afternoon. Now there are 2 bowls of cat food scattered about. Toys everywhere, and our shoes are a mess. Yep. We call him Demon Child, Baby Child. He has a few names. He'll eat all kinds of stuff. And, like, he tried to eat a Tic Tac earlier, because he's just like, oh, I could eat that. Older games tend to be better anyways. Proof that story trumps graphics every time. It sucks that has become a cliche, but it really is. And, like, we're steering towards something that I don't like. We're steering toward... Besides the subject I'm about to jump into in a little bit with JT, which, yeah, I still got my screen open here. Why are you playing noises? Stop playing noises. I didn't ask you to play noises. Like, we're steering towards an industry that just makes me cringe. It really does. I want a game to work the way it's supposed to. I want it to function properly. And I use those very different phrases because sometimes you can get a cyberpunk situation where the game won't even load. And then you get these stupid little graphical details because the card was designed to lie to you, potentially. That's what I think this DLSS crap is it's just designed to, oh, you want more frames? Well, instead of, like, telling it to make more frames... We'll just literally take frames, generate them, and then shove them in between, like, pieces of paper in a book. And we'll say that there's more frames. Like, no! Optimize your game better. Make your hardware do what it's supposed to do. Like, I don't know that gamers asked for this crap. I feel like this is a publisher thing. That, well, our developers can't... They can't really optimize games well. Whose fucking fault is that? Not my fault. I worked on the Source engine. I learned how to optimize a fucking level. You're working with the Unreal Engine. Do I need to learn how to optimize just so I can understand where your fuck up is? Because I will. I learned many. I've worked in 4 industries. I will learn how your job is fucked up. I mean, the Avowed versus Oblivion thing, having recently beaten Avowed and balls deep into Oblivion right. Yes, that's another example. Skytex played Avowed first, which was already questionable just in the word of mouth aspect. But he played that, which presumably would have better graphics. Presumably. And then he went back and he's in Oblivion right now, which, when did Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, if I spelled right. When did you, 2006. Oblivion came out in 2006. Avowed came out this year. And I've watched some of the playthrough that Skytex did. Patrick Stewart's in it, which I didn't know that. That's cool. But just seeing that game and seeing what was done with that game, it makes me kind of die a little bit inside, because I keep hearing this excuse that, oh, games are hard to make. Games are too difficult to make. Why is that? Like, here's one thing that gamers don't have to make anymore. Oh, I don't even have it. Fuck. I don't have it on me. Damn it. I found the other day. Oh, hang on. Let me see this here. I never heard of Avowed before playing it, and never heard of Oblivion before now, or never played Oblivion before now. I'm sure you got quite a culture shock. You got quite a bit of whiplash there. Modern game, really good graphics, sucky story. Older game, mediocre graphics, great story. Quite the culture shock there. No, I was going to. No, go back. Stop doing the thing. I was going to say something. Oh, I remember now. Here's a thing that you didn't watch review channel, so it was legit version. Serious? Oh wow. I had seen one person play a little bit of Oblivion years ago. It was like 3 or 4 years after it came out, and someone was just replaying it because they liked it. And so that was an interesting thing. JT's still doing he's still doing his thing. I've got a... Hang on, let me get the door here. One of the biggest piles of bullshit lies that I hear from publishers, and to an extent developers, when they say, games are too difficult to make. One, they're partially talking out their ass because they don't expect you to think about certain things that used to come with a game. And that's why I wish I had my example box here. Because that was the box. I'll use this as an example. So, this is just my Steam Deck box. Do you know what it took to make this? Do you know the resources that went into making this box? Presume this is a game box for a moment. Specifically, StarCraft Brood War, which you could get as an expansion to the original StarCraft for $10 back when it was released. I have my copy. I need to go get it. It has a price tag. Fred Meyer, $9.99. Okay? So, to make this box, you had to pay an artist to make the artwork. You had to get a lawyer to consult to talk about all the legalese. You had to reach out to a paper mill who then would send you samples of the paper, specifically the paper board, because this is a paper board. And you had to find a quality that had the least amount of defects in it, which, for those of you who don't know, there's different quality tiers of paper that you can send to a particular customer or supplier. Graphics Packaging, which is probably a company that would have done the ink for something like this. Graphics Packaging does the printing for the instant Quaker oatmeal, which are actually made at a mill that I've worked at here in Washington. You have to contract all these people to get these materials. You have to get the paper. You have to send the paper to the printing company. Printing company has to put the thing on here. The paper board has to be molded into the specific shape that you want. You then have to get the materials that go inside the box that the customer, i.e. you and I, like the booklet, like for StarCraft, there used to be like these 3-tiered fold-out leaflets of like all the characters and everything. And basically like if you look at a skill tree of an RPG, that was basically the characters for StarCraft. You'd see all the skill tree of the character. Like, oh, you wanted to make a medic, you need this, 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 and this. You have that in like a cheat sheet. You had to put all that shit in a box for a PC game in 1998. That cost money, folks. That shit doesn't exist anymore. That is money that is no longer spent for a PC game release. So when I hear developers say, oh, it's harder to make, bull fucking shit. Eat my ass. It's easier. You don't have to do this shit. Also, this is a US product. There were most likely other languages that would have had to have been done for other products around the world for something like StarCraft. The Chinese release, the Japanese release, the Hindu release, whatever the fuck you want. The things like that people don't really like to talk about anymore. I know this shit because I've worked in the paper industry for 3 years. I've heard this kind of shit going on. But you're supposed to believe that games are too difficult to make. No, the engine's so much easier to work with. Rarely does someone in a AAA studio actually have to really write their own engine. They modify the fuck out of it, sure. But they don't have to write the shit from scratch. Also, look at Bethesda. They've been using the same goddamn engine for over a decade. They're not changing very much. I missed a bunch of stuff because I was on a rant. The only Oblivion I've ever seen is that Xbox screen that plays behind Cody. I knew he loved the game, but I've played Skyrim, so shrug. What industry haven't I worked in? The AAA studio, or the AAA gaming industry. But I've done gaming from a technical aspect in the sense of I was part of the modding scene for Half-Life 2, starting in 2003 when the beta leaked. And so I understand what it takes to optimize a game. The Source Engine had things called portals. They had things called leafs. They had little tools that you would put in the levels that would cut down on, like, can't think of the damn word anymore because it's been so long. Not combining. The packaging process of the level. Because you had to package the level, which took time. You had to bounce the lighting. You had to create the physics. You had to optimize. And that meant that the game literally had to build shit. And that took time. You'd have to, like, hit go and walk away. It could take 2 hours to bounce a single level, depending on your size and how complicated it was. And that was back in the early 2000s, the Source Engine. With Unreal, you literally can just type stuff out, hit a button, and boom, you're in the game. So there's a big change there. But I'd be very curious to see how developers are optimizing the hell out of shit. Or if they're not. Case in point, why I haven't done my review for Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor, I've come to learn, does have an optimization issue, but it's not apparent at first. It's this, again, it's the diminishing return of performance. The more you get into the game, the worse the quality of graphics gets. And also, it starts to turn into... you get what I call the Mummy Returns effect. Compiling, yes, that's the word I was looking for. You have to compile a level in the source engine because there's no real-time... You can't do 24-hour lighting like you could with something like Stalker, or I suppose, well, to go to a game that we've been playing recently, the Planet Crafter has 24-hour day and light systems. You couldn't do that in the source engine. Once you had a fixed light, like my light up here, unless you program that thing to move, that light stays. Like that's how it was with daylight. Daylight could not move. The sun, like Minecraft, you can't do that. It doesn't exist. Which is the developers, Valve, obviously recognized that, and so they wanted to come up with something better. And supposedly for Half-Life 3, I don't believe it. Supposedly they're doing that. But trying to get back on topic. Publishers are, especially AAA publishers, they really are just full of shit because they expect to believe that, oh, a game really does cost $400 million to make. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Final Fantasy VI was completely guilty of this. Which part? I'm thinking of which part was I talking about? The compiling, yeah, I can see that because supposedly they used up every aspect of the cartridge, but that could be bullshit. Let's check on things here. He's still doing... Oh, why is he looking at Snape? I don't know. JT goes into interesting subjects. I got a little very off topic with this. I think this originally started as fake frames, and it went off into a damn tangent, as I tend to. Oh, 16. Really? That was guilty of having that? 16 is interesting because there's a lot of people that actually had a hand in that. The developers of... Who was it? Unfollow... game. Where's the, Damn it. The developers of Unfollow. Oh my god, you're gonna do that for me. Who? Yeah, these guys. These guys actually did the lighting for 16. They are a team that specifically... Did you delist it? You changed it. Why did you change it? I was going to give you credit. Hang on, they probably moved it. No, they got rid of it. Why would they get rid of it? They had a credit here where they did the set lighting for Final Fantasy 16. This team here, Serafini Productions. I was actually really impressed with the fact that they did the set lighting for 16. They did it for a Netflix show. They did the set lighting for Spoken. Like, that's what this team specifically specializes in, is doing detailed lighting. And this is the first bit of game design that they've done. And I was really surprised by it. I was like, wow. And now they're actually working on the game. Well, how about that? They move it. Well, I guess they don't want that credit anymore. I don't know why. Not the lighting specifically, but just graphic fidelity and overall quality. Well, that's very unfortunate. And it's partially why I have very little faith in stop doing that. It's every time I hover over OBS. I don't know why it does that. My computer's haunted, ladies and gentlemen. But that's just how I feel. Don't know about. Game starts out good and then degrades to BS. Yeah, that's... You just don't like the story. That's understandable. I haven't really been pulled into any Final Fantasy games recently. I've watched Mutahar, I think, show playthrough footage of 7, like Rebirth or whatever it was, and I had just no interest. They all legit look the same now. Like, the music is all the same. It's like 7 was supposed to be this kind of cyberpunk / diesel punk vibe. That's not what I get out of it. I don't even like see it as Final Fantasy 7. It looks like Final Fantasy 10. And it's like 10 became the standard for all these games. Or was it 14? Maybe it's 14. And like, I don't care. I really don't. I feel like I'm supposed to care. But I don't. And I have no emotion for it. I have no excitement for it. I look at it and it's just like, no, okay. I'm going to go over here to Abiotic Factor. This looks more interesting. Beetlejuice. Bonzi. But yeah, I don't know what else to make of this other than Nvidia really... Nvidia has gotten to the point where they don't feel like they have to try anymore. They feel like they can just shoot out whatever product. I was going to say turd, but they don't really make turds. They make a product, it does a thing, but they are not determined to prove anything anymore. They have no ego to bruise. For them, it's all about money. And with this 50 series, somebody knew what was going to happen with these 50 cards. Maybe it was on the die level, maybe it was on the project level, maybe it was on the executive, the QA, the marketing, the executive. Somebody knew. And somebody else kept their mouth shut. And here we are. Because they had to make money off of it. They spent... How long would you typically spend developing something like this? 5+ years? How long was it Avowed that spent like almost 7 years? 7, almost 8 years in development? Maybe it was almost that long. Developing this card, testing it out, and then what went wrong? Was it COVID that went wrong? Something went wrong, but they said, release it anyways. You've become the AAA of card manufacturers. You don't think you have anything to prove anymore. And I see that with a lot of other AAAs. And it's so sad to see because I saw Nvidia, representatives from Nvidia at PDX Land in Portland, Oregon in 2006. So proud of what they did with, like, I think it was the 6800 was one of the best cards you could get. The RX 6800? What the hell was it? Because your computer is haunted. It is. It really is. It's the GeForce. GeForce 6800. Yep. The GeForce 6800 Ultra. Which, it was launched in 04, so it was still a pretty big card by the time 06 came around. And they were so proud of that shit. They couldn't give themselves enough praise. They had this projector and he had a remote and he was talking about, we don't have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like he went up to, I'm pretty sure it was 100 examples, just headlines about how Nvidia's dominating the market over ATI. which again, AMD was not that dominant. ATI was the big competitor at the time. Half-Life 2 had just came out, and it was designed specifically with ATI in mind. Hell, you could get cards at Fry's Electronics with copies of Half-Life 2 included with it. It was that big of a deal for Valve. And to see where they are now with this bullshit. DLSS 4.0. Why? Who asked for this? I didn't. I just want my card to work. The 40 series, it was the card was catching on fire. Now, what is the big problem? Are cards still in catching on fire? They're doing everything else. 8800 GTX 2000, was that what it was? I could be wrong. Yeah, you could be right. GeForce 8800. Okay. Yeah, it was a while ago. Thank you, Alan Jones. Here we go. Let's open up a new screen. Yes, I stand corrected. The Nvidia GeForce 8800 GTX. They were giving away 6800s, I think. That's probably what it was. I had a 6600. That's what I could get for the money at the time. Oh boy. Look at this thing. 128 cores. Less than a gig of memory. That was hot shit back then. Windows XP Pro 64-bit. Gotta make sure this is still open. Did he end a stream? He ended a stream. I missed out on it, looks like. Well, I'm an idiot. Looks like I missed out. He said he was going to send me something, but I guess not. Let me see something here. Unless he forgot. It's very possible. That's all right, though. He had a lot to... He had a brain fry moment that even messed with my brain a little bit. But that is okay. I didn't have a whole lot of subjects here to cover, but didn't know Karis was streaming tonight. Neither did I. But that is okay. If anyone else wants to jump in and yammer at my brain, I don't really have any other subjects for tonight. That's mostly what I wanted to complain about. I wanted to have some more positive stuff, but nope, didn't have it for tonight, folks, unfortunately. So hopefully Nvidia can learn from this lesson. Also, I guess I will go with something positive. If you haven't checked out any of these games, the Broken Lore series, I'm working on a video right now for them. If you haven't checked them out, they're all in demo right now, and they're really good. Unfollow specifically is a really good one. I will... Hell, I'll even put it in there. But, Unfollow and Low... Dude, Unfollow or Follow are actually tied together. They're the same store, or they... Unfollow is part 1. I think Follow is part 2. A lot of them are built around the old-time Japanese folklore, with a modern take on it. And I really like that. even though these are really high fidelity games, they're not super complicated. You're in a very linear story, linear world, and you have a lot of the environment that does the talking for you. You have a little bit of like exposition. I don't want to give too much away. But what this company did, which is why I'm really surprised that they changed up their credits, unless they don't want to list their like, oh, we worked on this, and they want to actually focus on being, hey, we make games now. I can see that. But all of these games, don't watch, low, unfollow. Ghost Frequency is an interesting take on, it's essentially like, have you ever seen Grave Encounters? It's kind of a Japanese folklore version of Grave Encounters, and I really liked Grave Encounters. Itself is like a horror parody on the Ghost Adventures kind of format, except like all shit goes wrong. It just completely falls apart in a good way. Grave Encounters is about a ghost hunting team that are essentially, they know they're frauds. Like, you see them filming the fake bullshit, and they have their like examples of people, like they paid somebody like $20 and they, oh, they saw a ghost or something. Like, you see them filming this stuff, and then as the story progresses, they start to realize that they're actually in a fucking haunted situation, and it's just, things go completely wrong. But it's so good. They did a second one, which was absolute hot trash. You don't have to watch that one, but Grave Encounters, go watch it. It's probably on Netflix or something. I don't really have any other subjects. I'll be honest, I'm kind of exhausted on subjects. I would actually, if Skytex is still around, your crazy story, not interested. If Skytex is still around, I would love to do a game that only you have the save file for, sir. I see Bosco's probably asleep. That's okay. Yes, I have been playing the Planet Crafter, as opposed to a Planet Crafter. And it's been really fun. I've got the full version, and I would love to play that right now. I'm going to get rid of the demo, because I don't need that. Don't know if you're still here, Skytex. Or if perhaps something else appeases you. You're not even online, are you? Nope, you're not online. That's okay. But yeah, that's all I had for tonight, folks. What is this? You'd love to give... When was this? I completely missed this message. 9:37. Your thoughts on Nvidea? Don't know if you're still here, Billy. You can jump in if you want. But yes, if you haven't seen any of these specific Nvidia, I mean, you don't have to watch everything from Gamers Nexus. I don't subscribe to him because, well, he has a lot of videos that some stuff I just don't really care about. Like, I watched the Nvidia Don't Screw This One Up, which he has some good jokes in there. I will go look Steve's stuff up if I want specific information. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube that I don't want their stuff. Like, Bellular News posts something like almost every day, and it just hogs my subscription feed. And it's like, I will go look for Bellular stuff because I like what they talk about. So I guess what we'll recap with is, what do we talk about today? Talk about the unfortunate situation with Gene Hackman's death, and his wife's death, and his dog's death. That it's just like one bad thing after another. And Uh, is that a ginger? You gay as hell. Citation needed, my good sir. Are you wanting to jump in here and give your thoughts on something? Because, yeah, I'm all out of my subjects. I wasn't the most researched tonight. So if you want to come in here and wait. No. I've got something for you. I have a PSA and I almost like what? Well, tonight we talked about the unfortunate revelation of Gene Hackman's death. We talked about Marvel Rivals, and I went over basically my thoughts on how you're going to see more of that kind of thing, because I think the AAA games industry is turning into the film industry, and that a bunch of executives, in my theory, in my opinion, have moved over and have taken over ownership as investors of these industries, and they're pulling the strings. And that's why all the developers, or most of the developers at Rival Studios, or Marvel Rivals, were laid off because they're treating it like a film. And then we talked about Nvidea and how they're basically full of shit. I mean, how they're making a terrible product. I mean, how they need to learn from their mistakes. Do I need to jump on Discord? That would be easy. That'd probably be the easiest. I was supposed to have a chat with Smash JT, but he didn't. Either I was supposed to sit in his stream and wait for him to send it, or he forgot. But that is that. I'm not upset about that. That was probably my dumbass thought of maybe he would email it to me. But probably not. We'll see. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of such. I do have one. I was looking through my show notes here at the very bottom. Skytex, if you were still here, I really do need your thoughts on this. So the other day, I was in Maryland. Hutara was back home, and she wanted to DoorDash something. Well, the DoorDash card is in my name. Well, I don't have a DoorDash card, but the credit card is in my name. So Hutaru ordered something essentially in my name from, I think it was Safeway or Walmart, because Hutaru does not drive. She can't drive medically, which that's the arrangement we have. It's okay. So she orders the thing. And apparently now, when you order something from DoorDash, the person receiving it, the name must match the card of who ordered it. And if they do not match, the dasher has the right to not only deny the delivery, but also take the items for themselves. And DoorDash support will not reimburse you on this. This is a thing that I learned, people. My money went to DoorDash, which then went to Safeway. And then my item, which was supposed to go to Hutaru, she showed the order. Like, she has the app. We both have the app. It's under two different names, but it just happened to be my name. The rules supposedly were that there has to be an adult to sign off on it. Well, that wasn't enough for this particular dasher. The names had to match. So because they didn't match, the dasher went off with my items that essentially I paid for. Got free shit. I don't know if this is becoming a regular thing, people, but I would be very wary of when you order something from DoorDash. Cover your ass, because the dashers apparently have the opportunity to interpret whatever the hell they want in the rules. and they will claim your shit. I've never seen this before. It was just absolute batshit crazy. So Hootaro ended up having to reorder the items, and so had to pay twice for the items. Like, what? And DoorDash support's just like, trip shrugs, bro. Nothing we can do. Sorry. Fucking horse shit. Which is why I wish Skytex probably fell asleep, because I would love to ask his thoughts on that. You've never heard of that happening? That's insane. Hey, that's a ginger by the looks of it. How goes, sir? I know, we've got Tism Friday. How go... No, it's 25% difference. Fine. 3 a.m.'s when we finished. I mean, when you finished. No, it doesn't. It fucked up Fridays. No, not here. Probably. Fraggle Fridays. That's closest we can probably get. What? Oh, I know why.
My God, what an
I had to mute the desktop audio because I would hover over something and some random ass fucking audio would play. It's like, I don't know where it's coming from. I have no videos open.
Okay, Grandpa. We
Yep.
know that you're starting to struggle with using technology.
I know, right? I hit 40 and suddenly I'm falling apart. Evening, Scaly.
God, you're basically like halfway dead.
I know, right? Absolutely.
Golly, my stepdad's not even 40 yet.
It's...
Let that sink in for a second.
Yep. I am old enough to be some people's grandfather. It's ridiculous.
Wait a minute. I don't know about what grandfather's 40 years old? What age would your kids be having their... I guess if maybe you had a kid like either as a teen or right at 18,
Yep.
I guess, you know.
I would have had to have had a kid.
20, and then they had a kid at 20. And they'd be 40.
Yep. Absolutely.
I didn't start having kids till I was 30, and here I am reaching 50, and now
Good night,
my
Helena.
kids.
Wait,
Fortunately,
Scaly, you're
aren't-
50?
I'm 3 years away from it.
Damn, y'all some old motherfuckers.
Yep,
Yeah.
that we are.
Y'all are making Cody look young.
Speaking of
easy.
Cody, did you catch his race tonight? He was actually on national television.
No, I don't really watch NASCAR live.
We were at Applebee's because
Did he
we're-
crash?
Helena.
No. He
Damn it, bro. I was hoping that Crash a Lot 331 was gonna make an appearance.
No, the cameraman and the director were really selfish.
Ed!
They kept showing the like 23, the JBL, and like a handful of others, but we only saw about like 30 minutes before the race ended, and they showed like 2 seconds of close up of Cody's car, of him like waving. The net was already up. And we only saw the 11 and the colors.
You know,
Like,
that reminds me, what game is Cody gonna be in?
he's gonna be in iRacing 2025.
What car design are they gonna use?
Probably.
They need to use Cyberfrog. They need to use that one. They can't. I mean, Tim Cass is cool and everything, but like, the Cyberfrog
Well,
design is peak.
If it was supposedly it was based on the 2024 era, so they could use the 06. And if they use the 06, my fucking logo's on that thing for about half a year.
I don't know if they're gonna go as far as to put all the like those decals on there.
Probably not.
Would be cool, but yeah, you think you're gonna get free advertising like that? Well, I guess not free, but you know what I mean.
I'm sure as hell not getting paid for this shit. Holy hell.
Now you're paying him,
I am, yeah.
and he's paying me, and then not releasing any videos. I literally keep hitting him like, Cody, I'm like, Cody, it's time for videos. Come on, give me work.
I've noticed, yeah, like you went back to being his editor, and a few videos came out, but then it's like, what? Where's the
He's been
stuff?
slacking. I literally keep getting onto him like, Cody, come on. I was like, it's like, plus if we don't make any videos, I can't ask him to pay me again because I would feel bad because we released like maybe 3-4 videos this entire like since last payment. So, you know,
There's got to be more content. I know he's covered stuff.
I mean, there's always content. He just, I don't know, he's been slacking. I don't know.
He's been busy. But that's fine. He was telling me about what happened tonight. I'm not going to mention it on stream because I want him, to talk about that. You know, that'll come out of his mouth. But he mentioned the reason why he was stuck in the 16th and 17th place, and it's like, oh, okay, that does suck. But
I guess a little teaser. We're gonna find out. You know what's been fun, Karis, right? So I was talking about in your Discord. I joined the folding phone revolution here. You know,
I
got
saw
my first
that.
folding phone.
I saw that. That's nice.
So I've been using that for about the past week since I finally got the case. I wasn't gonna use it without the case. Not happening.
Yeah.
So I finally got a big old bulky D brand case with hinge protection and shit. And now I officially sent my old phone. Sent it back, or sent it to T-Mobile, wherever the fuck it's going. Malaysia, who the hell knows?
Yeah. Cool.
It's been fun.
Going to be
I
tied
guess.
to an inflated condom that will drop on a Jew's head.
Huh? What does that mean?
You don't know about that? All right. So one of the things that they stopped was 70 million condoms being sent to Gaza, because what Hamas was doing was they were inflating condoms and attaching bombs to them and sending them over the wall.
That's a very creative way to bomb people. I need to write that down. I'm gonna write that down in my notes right now. just in
Damn.
case,
So
in Minecraft.
in Minecraft, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, in Minecraft.
Minecraft? Hell, more inavowed.
I like how the main Steam page right now is showing The Sims 25. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, that was something I had for the last show, but then I thought, that's really stupid. I'm not even going to cover it. Because, like...
You know what I miss? I miss SimAnt. Do you remember
Oh my
SimAnt?
god. SimAnt. Yes.
Sim Ant?
Yes.
Yes, SimAnt.
There was an era...
Remember when I played Sim Coaster? Well, okay, so on the PS2 it wasn't called Sim Coaster. It was called Theme Park Roller Coaster, but it's the
Okay.
same thing as I think Sim Coaster or something, or Sim Theme Park on PC. And,
Okay.
you know, it's got that little talking ant thing. You know, this thing is just 2 black spears with some eyes on it.
It's not
Fun
popping up
game.
in my head. But yeah, there was
Weren't
an...
there? Oh, of
You
course
had
you
me
missed
at
that stream.
2 black spheres.
Okay, buddy.
The fascinating thing about what he's talking about with SimAnt is that was around, if it's what I'm thinking of, it was, I think, it was like right around or before the time of SimCity 2000, when there was like all these janky sim games. There was like Sim Tower, which I played a shit ton of. It was just this really silly little game where you build a tower and you put businesses in it. And it was
I've seen LGR cover it.
okay, yeah, it's one of those kinds of games. Sim Tower was fantastic. Scaly, help me out. What else was there? There was
Oh my
Sim
God,
Hotel?
Nexus had so many
Sim Prostitute.
Probably.
games before The Sims.
You remember SimAnt? Yeah, I might have, like, I looked into SimAnt and I thought, no, that doesn't really interest me. But Sim Tower, that was so simple and so addictive. That was almost like a flash game kind of addiction. Like, there was no real purpose to it. There was no story. It was just a thing you did. But it was entertaining. It was simple. And it allowed me to turn my brain off for, like, I guess an hour of time. And then had to go back to real life. But
see, we had Sim Earth, Sim
Yes.
Sim Life,
Yep.
Sim Farm, Sim
Wait,
Copter.
were
God,
these
that
all
was
Simcopter.
very last.
Were these all Maxes?
Those I think they were part of Max's, or they were like done in the style of Max's. Because Max's only did a handful, but then you had some other people that were like, I could do a sim game, and so they would, and they were kind of fun.
And then that gave birth to Spore.
Yes. I never actually played Spore, but I know it was really popular, or at least it was, until it wasn't.
And then it gave birth to EA. Well, in my opinion, ruining the Sims franchise, but
Essentially.
Oh, that
I guess I guess Sims 5 is never happening. We're just gonna stick with Sims 4 until the end of time.
oh, yeah. Well, now the cat's out of the bag. The sorry if I'm coughing in your. I can only really mute one at a time, unfortunately. So I'm gonna mute the stream. You guys had to put up with that bullshit.
Damn.
The cat's out of the bag with Sims 4. Most of us all know that Sims 4 was really just a bullshit cash grab, and there's no point in even trying to.
Sims 3 was better, and I'm going to stick to that narrative. I don't care. I've had some people be like, well, yeah, but like, look at all these improvements Sims 4 made. I'm like, but Sims 3 didn't have loading screens. You could switch from one sim at the house to one in the city with a GTA 5 style flyover. It performed like shit, but it worked.
See, I didn't know that. That's impressive. I never
How did
played
you not
Sims
know that?
3, but well, I was not really a sim. I played a little bit of the Sims 4 base to get an idea for it, like, what the fuck kind of game is this? And I was like, okay, I understand this a little bit. Not really interested anymore. But I didn't know there was that level of optimization where you could just like helicopter zoom from one character to another. Like that was your transition instead of a progress loading bar or whatever the hell.
Yeah, there was also these things called vehicles too. You could have
Damn.
cars. What a novel concept. A
Don't-
life simulation where
don't
you
tempt
have
me.
a vehicle to drive.
Anytime there's a vehicle in a game, I gotta run Skytex over.
Well, I mean, that's the right thing to do.
It's
Godspeed.
the lore.
And I mean, literally, Godspeed. Run them over as fast as you
Speed
can.
of God, yes.
I mean, the car is probably still going to implode it as soon as it hits him. That's like hitting a fucking boulder. But hey,
No, that's only if it's made from by VW.
nah, you're gonna need a goddamn car made of adamantium to survive
Yeah.
that confrontation.
Because, vibranium is not as tough as we learned from Thanos, unfortunately.
Exactly. Man, that reminds me. I watched the new Captain America weeks ago.
How was
What
it?
fucking garbage that was.
Really?
It was awful. It was not good. We were watching the older Captain America movies. Man, they were so much better. This new one was just, I was like, it was nonsensical. Red Hulk came out for like barely any time, even though he was using the marketing material down to literally having like the Cinemark exclusive like cups and popcorn buckets and shit.
Yeah.
But like he had like such a minuscule part of the entire movie. It wasn't a good movie. I'm sorry. This new guy, he's just not a good Captain America. He's not my captain.
He's Captain
Okay.
Falcon. I'm dying on that hill. He is a Captain Falcon through and through.
He's not as good as Steve Rogers. I mean, that's literally what part of the
No.
plot of the movie is all about, the narrative
No.
behind the movie. But like,
Yeah.
so it's kind of ironic that I'm literally feeding into what the movie is trying to fight back against. But like, it is what it is. I'm sorry.
He is
Just-
not Captain Falcon. I'm sorry, no. That
No.
does a massive disservice to F-Zero.
Also, I still can't get over how bad the CGI in these modern Marvel movies is. What's the excuse? Disney's got literally like endless, like printer of money. They don't need to have shitty CGI. I was watching Godzilla -1,
Mhm.
a couple weeks back, and that movie only had like a budget of about 15 mil, right?
Yeah.
And there was a couple parts, like 1 or 2 parts, where the CGI was a little dodgy, but for the most part, it was better than pretty much most of the modern Marvel movies when it comes to their special effects. That's sad.
Yeah, that. Well, it was pointed out during Endgame that they realized they don't have to spend nearly as much time color grading a bunch of stuff, and they can save just that amount of time and get it out that much faster. But you did that color grading for a reason. Why did you stop?
Like even Deadpool and Wolverine's CGI was, from what I can remember, pretty damn good.
Yeah, they
But-
color graded that, but also look at the people running it probably had their head screwed on a little bit differently. Marvel seems anything Deadpool related has always been a black sheep, and I think Marvel knows this. They don't like that Deadpool is popular, but they can't really do anything about it. They need it. And so they're going to let people just kind of do what they want, as long as, just check these boxes and we'll see you at the fucking premiere kind of thing. They don't really have that much of a hand in it, like Endgame, where it's like, come on, get it out. We got to get it out. Like, I get the impression that they're more hands off, as long as it does what it needs to and makes a shit ton of money. And then it does make a shit ton of money, and they're like, but what about our stuff? And people are like, no, get fucked.
Oh yeah, well your stuff sucks. Like fucking the newest like Black Panther with that really shitty CGI Iron Man type suit thing that's like black or no, it's like red and blue or something. I saw like clips of him, like that looks like dog
What was
shit.
that? Ironheart?
Yeah, Ironheart. Yeah, that's the name. Looks like shit.
Is that an
Doesn't look
actual
good.
like thing in the comics?
Probably.
This is what happens when storytelling gives way to activism.
I don't know, man. This is why I just skip most Marvel films. Like when we watched the Captain America movie, I even told my friends like, okay, but like I haven't watched like the last like million fucking Marvel movies, so I'm gonna be kind of lost on a lot of things. I don't think it would have helped. The movie would have
Really?
still sucked ass.
Falcon's a pretentious, hypocritical asshole who thinks he deserves everything that's been handed to him. And that everyone just needs to accept that he is all that in a bag of chips. He hasn't earned it. He hasn't done anything.
Oh,
to
he's a bag of
deserve it.
chips, so he's like salt and vinegar.
You know who you just described? Most of the boomer generation.
Yeah, you?
I'm not a boomer, I'm a millennial.
I'm Gen X.
Okay, buddy. Whatever makes you feel better.
Millennials were born after, was it 80 or 81? But I have no shame in being a
I'm
millennial.
literally one of the youngest millennials because I was born right at the tail end of millennial.
I'm apparently the reason why the country has fallen apart. Apparently,
Well, I mean, yeah. I thought you knew that already. It's all
I-
your fault, Karis.
Yep, apparently it is. Even though this shit started long before I was born, but apparently I'm the reason for it falling apart. Oh, and
back in the 1800s.
no, back in the I think it was the 1960s is when shit started falling apart.
I just want to go back to the time where you could backhand your wife and nobody bat an eye, anyways.
And suddenly
Space,
my stream was
space.
canceled.
Nah, Cody says worse.
He does. Now I'm looking at Ironheart here, and I see the first appearance was apparently in 2016, so this character is new. Really fucking new.
And it's bad. She's terrible. It all went downhill after what's his name, the Black Panther actor died.
Unfortunately, Chitala
It's kind of like how Fast and Furious lost its luster after Paul Walker died.
We need Iron Man, but make her black and gay.
And bald. That's the worst part.
Bald?
Well, yeah, because the Wakandans are bald.
Hey, that means that the chick from who plays the Wicked Witch in Wicked,
No. It's
she
Will
can be
Smith's
Ironheart
wife.
now.
Nah, it's Will Smith's wife. Now I hear Will Smith like breaking down my door right now. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. No, please, Will Smith, please don't smack me.
I just got the. Who was it? It was a movie clip that I think Red Letter Media made, or something like that. And it was the scene from Independence Day when Will Smith, he's doing the like "Welcome to Earth," and that audio is spliced over the slap scene, and the punch is essentially the slap, and you hear, you know, they time those together really. "Welcome to Earth" slap. It's just like
I like the edit better where they edit it and they make Chris Rock ragdoll like he's in a Source game. And they play the Half-Life like dead noise.
Yeah, that was who was that? Wasn't Harry Partridge? Who is it? The guy Portal to Sound of Science guy.
You know, when they said the cake was a lie in Portal 2, I think they were talking about Nicki Minaj's ass.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I'd still clap. I don't know if this is a hot take. What's her name? What's that rapper that everybody was fucking Ice Spice? Fucking mid as hell. One of the most midest ass motherfuckers, but people be gassing her up. She's a gassed up mid, as a Gundam would say.
I didn't really care for anything of Ice. I didn't understand why Ice Spice was a thing. Like I feel like, are you supposed to be?
It's called ratchet rap. I think that's what they unofficially call it. Where it's all the lyrics is just about sucking dick, taking dick, twerking. I'm like, bro, can you rap about something else? Like, we get it. You take miles of cock, okay? We got it, okay? You like it when they bust in your little afro thing you got going on. Like, cool. Like, slay queen. I don't know. What the fuck?
There it is. There's the slap. The Source Engine ragdoll.
I'm still waiting for the stream to catch up to it. Man, you're so far behind on here. Oh, here it is. I'm watching it now. It's so good. It's so good. They did such a good job.
Why am I need? Oh, I can't stream because I'm not in a game. Because the Discord. No, the one I was originally thinking of was this one, but not. You'll see this here in a moment.
I've been watching videos about Killing Floor 3.
Oh yeah.
The game is fucking dog shit. It looks like absolute dog shit.
I am very curious now because I've heard that from one other person.
Like
Today we're investigating NDX.
Golly, what did they do to my boy? They fucking ruined it. It doesn't even look like Killing Floor anymore. What did they do?
Killing Floor 3 has been officially delayed.
This is worse than Payday 3. Payday 3 was bad from what I heard. But at least from what I've seen, it looks like Payday. It just has a lot of fundamental issues. And it hasn't been delayed? Well, I mean, I'm glad. I don't know if they can fix it. They would literally have to.
Well, guys, it finally happened. I was just thinking.
Game at this point.
Yeah, huge news. Developers King Floors have decided to delay their game They said listening to community.
decided. I like when they say they decided to. I'm like, no, you were obligated to because you were getting shit on online. Like just look at the movement. Something about the movement doesn't look right. And even the blood is not very good. And the blood and the gore is like part of Killing Floor. And it doesn't look right. It looks like red paint being splattered all over the ground.
He's got a bunch of words in front. I wish he'd get rid of that shit. There we go. Let's play a little.
They say that they look for another opportunity to show a more polished
Game's
version.
just not. And they went and nobody asked for them to add like specialists, and they added specialists, and I'm like, why? Nobody asked for that. What was wrong with the old class system from the previous Killing Floor games?
Who's publishing this thing? I really am curious
Embracer
now.
Group.
No, they're publishing it themselves.
No, I've heard I think they're owned by Embracer because people kept bringing up Embracer Group in the comment section.
Okay.
I think it's Tripwire might be owned by Embracer. I can't exactly remember because I kept hearing Embracer, so I don't know if like I think Tripwire might be owned by Embracer, but they're still obviously publishing it. Like I don't know how to explain that.
It's a two-parent, so there's Saber Interactive and Embracer. So, Saber used to. Never mind. Saber used to own it until last year, and then Embracer took over end of last year.
Which explains a lot because Embracer Group is fucking dog shit. They're the ones that ruined the Saints Row reboot.
Whoa, they had a hand in that? Oh, lovely.
Well, yeah, they've also killed off a whole bunch of studios. Like they are not a good group. They are terrible. Nobody there is not a good thing to say about Embracer Group. But it's funny that it's kind of hidden. Like you wouldn't know that Embracer is involved with Killing Floor 3 unless you did a little bit of research, because it looks like, oh, it's just Tripwire, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting.
But if you dive in, you're like, oh, wait a minute, you guys are trying to hide that your dumbasses are involved with this shit.
Oh, well, this is interesting. 22 to present. Suave Gaming Group. Oh my god. I talked about this previously. These fucking investment companies. Saudi Arabia's public. It's not even the fact that Saudi Arabia. It's an investment company. Invested about $1 billion into Embracer Group in June of 2022, gaining an 8.1% stake. Investors. This is designed by investor. That's what Killing Floor 3 is now, apparently. Designed by investment. Designed by committee. Yeah, this
thought that this was a good idea. Like it's very simple. If you want to make money, you give people what they want. It's not hard to understand. Everybody was saying, give us Killing Floor 2, but better. That's all you had to do. Take Killing Floor 2 and make it better. Add your fucking ray tracing and fucking cum physics. I don't know what the fuck. Add all the creature comforts. Add some more content. Boom, bam, thank you, ma'am. You have a sequel. It's not rocket science, man.
That's probably the mistake right there. The part that you said when people said, "Give us Killing Floor 2, but better." They took better as creative liberties. That's the mistake. If people probably would have said, just give us Killing Floor 2, you would have gotten like Home Alone 2, essentially. The same fucking thing, new generation of engine. But because this is how executives think. They think better means, okay, I'm gonna put my own little touch on this. Nope. We don't want better.
Look, it's absolutely backfiring on them. They're getting shit on to the point where they had no choice but to delay the game. I don't think that they can save this thing. I think it's a little bit too far. The fact that they made it to beta with this shitty of a product is not a good sign. Like they've made it all the way. The gameplay looks like pre-alpha or alpha footage. Firstly,
it
and
kind of does.
Like the movement doesn't look right. There's a lot of things that just don't look right. It doesn't look like a beta. But the fact that they made it all the way to beta with this shitty product is not a good sign, because that means that they obviously weren't talking to nobody. Because I think it would have taken 2 seconds speaking to the Killing Floor community like people who actually play the game and who really like the series, just one conversation with any Killing Floor player, and they would have told you like, "Hey, bro, this shit's ass. Like, course correct now." Now.
Okay, I've got the two. So I've got a.
Like you've seen me play Killing Floor 2 on stream. I've played it with friends and whatnot. It's still such a good game to play. It has some things that are, you know, a little old style. You know, its technology is a little you know, what's the word? It's starting to show its age a little bit.
Well,
the game just works.
Killing Floor 2 is it has aspects of the first Killing Floor, which Killing Floor is a weird amalgamation. It started as an Unreal mod and then it became legit on its own, which I have the first Killing Floor. I played many years of it. I know it like the back of my hand.
I first played Killing Floor 1. I don't remember how I found out about it, but I was playing on like a shitty like integrated graphics i3 laptop and remember having such a good time. So as soon as the second one came out, I fucking bought that shit and I was like, "Oh my god, it's like the old game, but even better. They cranked it up to 11."
They
I
did.
like to say that Killing Floor is like COD Zombies mixed with Doom mixed with Left 4 Dead.
Seeing the two side by side, 2 and 3 looks like an attempt at cloning Battlefield with, I'm going to go with the Warzone version of Call of Duty, which is still Call of Duty, of course, but it's that Call of Duty / Battlefield idea, because that's what I see now.
Well, no, they made the exact same mistake as DICE did with 2042, where they're like, let's completely change the game's mechanics and formula, even though nobody asked for that. That's exactly why 2042 failed, because they're like, oh, nobody was asking to have the class system completely ripped out, but we're going to do it anyways because change, I guess. Which I just don't understand. I don't understand these gaming companies. Like, there's a reason why you make sequels to a franchise. You can change it up completely if you want, and sometimes it does go for the better. But for the most part, when you're making a sequel, you're supposed to build off your previous games, not scrap everything that people liked about your previous games. Maybe scrap the things people didn't like, but if you know that there's things that people come to those games for, why would you rip them out of the game? Nobody asked DICE to remove classes. Like, who said that? Who said, oh yeah, you know, I really like Battlefield, but I don't like the class system. You should make it like Call of Duty. Hell said that. Let me go Will Smith the fuck out of them. About to bust down their door.
And then in order to, yeah, I noticed that because I've been playing 2042 since, well, the third week it was released. I didn't have a problem with it, but then again, I'm pretty passive these days on AAA. People don't understand why I wasn't upset. It's like, because I have very little.
The game is fine, but it's just not. It's mediocre at best. Like, it's playable. I've had a lot of good times with it. It's just not great. It's so mediocre.
And yeah,
like,
and then
it's nowhere near as good as Battlefield 1. Even like Battlefield 1 was peak.
I still haven't played that.
That was peak DICE. Everything was good in Battlefield 1. The maps were good. The graphics were good. The atmosphere was good. It was a cool setting that's never really been explored in a more, I guess, what's the word? I guess more mainstream first-person shooter. You have like indie games that do like World War One, but I'm not playing those. They look boring. I mean, I know some people really like hardcore realistic shooters. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of, like, I don't want to play a game where I literally just walk around in a trench with a bolt action rifle and take pop shots at people. Like, I know that's how World War One was, but I'm not there. I'm not Grandpa. I wasn't there getting gangrene on my feet.
I don't know, Grandpa Gaming. He's got the sniper rifle in 2042. He's popping shots from like 1,000 yards. You seen that guy?
I prefer George Floyd Gaming, but okay.
No, if you haven't seen Grandpa Gaming, like, he wears these big glasses. he apparently was a former sniper in his own right, and like he's taught people how to snipe in game, and like he gives some examples, and this guy, like the only other person that I've seen compare to him is someone who I've actually played 2042 with, and I've seen this guy like pull 1,000 yards sniping, but the guy that I played with, like, he games damn near for a living. Like, when he learns a game, he learns every aspect of it. But like Grandpa Game, I don't know what his actual gamer title, I just kind of call him Grandpa Gaming. I've seen him snipe people, and it's like, damn. I probably run into this guy several times and gotten pissed off at someone just popped me in the head, and I didn't fucking know why.
You don't want to face snipers in Battlefield 1. They were snipers were peak in Battlefield 1 because they had something called a sweet spot mechanic, where each sniper rifle, except for a couple that they didn't have this mechanic, but most of the rifles had the sweet spot mechanic. And basically what it meant is if you were within a certain range, you could get a one shot to the chest. So like, say I think it was the Martini Henry or whatever, which was like an old like fucking like 1800s black powder gun or whatever, one of the most funnest weapons to use in the game.
Yeah.
And its sweet spot was, I think, within like maybe 50 meters or so. So if you pop somebody in the chest at about 50 meters, one shot, you don't have to hit them in the head, which I guess people hated that mechanic. I liked it, but that's because I fucking suck at sniping. So
that reminds me of, this was like such a cheap shot, but it was really effective.
I can see in the stream you're looking at like they picked up, like they had these little pickups too, like these elite classes you could pick up off the ground.
Yeah.
You get like a flamethrower or a fucking big old suit with a machine gun.
Like this guy has. Yeah, he's got the whole fucking 9 yards. But going back to the sniper, Team Fortress Classic had this feature with the snipers, and it didn't matter if you had like a 56k dial-up. If you knew how to use this feature, so basically like you had your red dot, and your dot would be like huge, and you would hold the trigger down, and the longer you held it, like an invisible meter would fill. And after so many seconds, like, you know, the meter would be full because you could get like a chest shot perfectly. But if you got the dot just barely to touch the top of the person's head, instant kill after like half a second of holding down, because the very top of the head was like, essentially, if you tapped somebody on the top of the head with a knife, if you could do that in the game, you'd kill them. But with a sniper, you would pop shots off with people. You know, you'd come around the corner and just pop shots. So essentially, you'd have your dot down, and you drop it down, release your shot, you'd kill people instantly, all the time.
In the gameplay, you can see he's also using that fucking Obrez pistol, which is basically I think it's a Mosin. I forget which rifle. I think it's a Mosin that's literally had its barrel completely sliced off to make it into a pistol.
I missed that part. He's been using the trench gun, which unless that's what you're talking about.
Talking about the Thompson?
Maybe it's the Thompson. They call it the trench gun.
Oh, the trench. Oh no, that's a pump action.
Okay.
Yeah, that thing was fun. Battlefield 1 was absolute peak. I mean, I still think the best one is Battlefield 3, but that's because I'm biased, and that was my first one. So,
see, I stopped playing at Bad Company 2, mostly because I was playing other stuff, and Battlefield just kind of started to look the same to me until 5 came out. It just, I would see trailers, and I see this as...
3 was completely different than Bad Company in every way, shape, and form.
See, that's I should probably go play it then, because I stopped paying attention to Battlefield. I'd see, there's a new trailer. I don't care.
And then 4 was just kind of like a refinement of 3. And then 5 was completely different. 1 was completely different. Like, that's the only good thing about Battlefield is you can't say that they pulled a Call of Duty, but then again, they only come out with a game like every 3 or so years, so, you know, they're not doing a yearly cycle, luckily.
Yeah, but they did have a good thing until they canceled their QA team. It was between 3 and 4, they canceled a contract with Combat Studio, and then Like, you might be able to tell me which one was more shit upon release, 3 or 4?
4.
4.
Like, 4 was like, I think on PC, almost completely unplayable with the amount of like crashing and problems it would have.
Supposedly that's when they canceled the contract with their big Combat Studios had been doing work with them since I think 1942 all the way through. And then around 4, because I knew the president of Combat Studios. He did our IT at the Lowe's store that I worked at because he needed a job. And he told me some of the stories of working on these games. And yeah, it was really fascinating to hear that. And then hearing like, oh yeah, the QA for these games has gone down the hill. It's like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, they didn't have their external QA team because they went everything internal.
That sounds about right. I mean, they hopefully are doing things right with this next Battlefield game because they're doing like some kind of Battlefield labs where they're gonna be doing some like behind the scenes testing and shit.
That just tells
like,
me early access.
Actual. Well, I don't think they're going to allow it to be like uploaded. I think it's gotta be like behind closed doors. I mean, it's probably gonna get leaked, but apparently they're gonna be actually letting players give them feedback and stuff as they're developing the game. I'm like, yeah, you probably should have done that in the first place because obviously you guys are out of touch with what the Battlefield community wants. I mean, to be fair, most of the veterans that made the good Battlefield games left. They're long gone. They were tired of working under EA's umbrella, and now you got a lot of the Battlefield people who make the finals. You have some other Battlefield people who are making this other like first-person shooter that I've like seen one video by Jack Frags about. So yeah, most of the talent that made the good games is gone. But I still hold to this opinion. All you gotta do is if you're a new developer with DICE, just go watch the old games. Takes 2 seconds. Go watch some videos. Do a little bit of research.
I think the big problem is you get these creative directors, and they come in and they say, we're gonna do something different. That was something I was gonna ask JT tonight. Because I went down a rabbit hole for Unknown 9 because I can't get it out of my mind. Like, people bitched about, oh, it's all Kim Belair's fault. It's all Kim Belair's fault. It's like, really? You had Alex Marencio, who was the creative director for Assassin's Creed Unity, Revelations, Far Cry 2. Like, he was one of the writers on Unknown 9. And also you had another writer who had been in the industry. He worked on Guild Wars Factions. You had a sound editor because people were bitching about the sound editing. It's like the sound editor had been working in the industry for like 20 years. Like, are we not going to put blame on these other people? Like, why the hell does Kim Belair get all this fucking blame? I mean, sure, she probably earned a bunch, but are we not going to acknowledge Alex Marencio, who is a massive veteran in his own right, who absolutely had his name on some of this shit? Like, are we not going to spread the blame on this people? Like, everyone just kind of like, I kind of wanted to ask him like how many more of these studios need to fail before, like you mentioned, a Battlefield type scenario comes through where they just have to ask the gamers, what the fuck do you want?
I don't think DICE has a choice and EA doesn't have a choice. Firstly, Battlefield is EA's only big first-person shooter. They failed to get any other first-person shooter franchise really off the ground besides Apex Legends. I mean, Apex has been, for better or for worse, it's been very successful, which I say for worse because it's meant we haven't gotten another Titanfall because I guess, why make another Titanfall if you can just keep printing money with a battle royale game? But that's neither here nor there. That's a discussion of a different day. But like at this point, this is the final frontier for Battlefield. This is their last stand, if you will. I think if this one fails, then that's the end for DICE.
It's possible.
They're on thin ice, just like BioWare at this point. I mean, to be fair, BioWare's came out with way more shit than DICE, but DICE doesn't release a game very often. So Battlefield 5 was a failure. 2042 was a massive failure. So like at this point, it's like, okay, you guys got one more shot to do this shit right, or else you're about to start. You're gonna get the EA treatment. That studio's gonna get. You're gonna get turned into like a support studio, which, to be fair, EA does that to studios even if they're not failures, like Criterion. They got turned into basically a support studio for no goddamn reason, even though Burnout was always extremely successful. Although the CEO, like the I think the co-founder and founder of Criterion left like ages ago and founded their own studio, and I played their games or whatever. So that's probably part of it, but regardless, I don't think Battlefield has another chance if they fuck this one up.
No, I don't think so. And like you mentioned, this is probably a desperation move, which is very strange because we're in a time where it seems to be okay to tell players to fuck off, that you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, to be fair, the I don't think he's the CEO anymore, but the CEO at the time, I think it was his name, Patrick Schoderland, I believe his name was.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was the CEO during the Battlefield 5 release, and he's gone on record saying something along the lines of basically telling people, if you don't like Battlefield 5, don't buy it.
I remember that.
Everybody was mad because they're like, okay, what the fuck are you doing to this game? Why are you ruining World War II? Like, why is there fucking redhead bitches with prosthetic arms and black German women? Like, what is this? Well, why are you even making a World War II game? Saying World War II? And he's like, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. I'm like, okay, well, people didn't buy it. Well, I guess you kind of told us not to buy it. I don't think he expected us to actually follow his advice.
It's really surprising what happens when you give the middle finger to the people that are supposed to pay your check. Like, I often bring up the whole Edward Bernays marketing strategy, which is something that has been it's been successful for a reason, because what he taught companies to do is to play on the emotion and make them feel vulnerable in order to get your game. Like, Ginger, your life is doing good. You've got a car, you've got a roof, but imagine how good your life would be if you got this Battlefield game. Life would be so much greater.
I mean, unless that game is gonna like fucking give me sloppy toppy and slap me on the ass, I don't think it's that. I don't think any game is going to change my life.
What if it did? What if it did? The DLC give you that sloppy top. You know that. Think about that.
Shit. If EA came out tomorrow with a sloppy toppy DLC, I might have to buy it at that point. That they might have my attention on that one.
But that's the marketing.
Of telling people that they're going to miss out on something. It's the fear of missing out.
Yes,
strategy.
It is exactly, and it's worked. It was used because it worked, and for whatever reason now.
I'm so glad it doesn't work that well on me. Like, that's why I don't play most modern games with their fucking battle passes, because battle passes are literally, just the fear of missing out, like exemplified.
It's the fear
like, oh, you need to get on right now and grind through the battle pass. Don't you want all this content? You wouldn't want to miss out on all these skins and stickers and emotes, would you?
It's the fear of missing out got thrown to the wayside, and then it went to the 2016 argument.
It did.
Of, if you don't do what we tell you to do, then you are these horrible things, and the only way you can prove that you're not these horrible things is to buy and support our game.
Yep. That's exactly where it went.
Everyone sits there and says, fuck you, I don't have to do what you tell me to do.
Yeah.
This is America, bitch. I thought we were in America. We're in America.
Damn.
Is this America?
Did you just explain last year's election in a nutshell?
Yeah.
Don't you dare, don't you vote for him. If you vote for him, then you're a racist Nazi. Well,
I guess I'm gonna go join the Axis and be a racist Nazi.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna put the armband on. I hear they got some pretty nice drip.
I remember Day of Defeat, in which you would actually have the opportunity. They called them the Axis, but you would literally play a fucking Nazi, and you'd have that red armband on your left arm. It's like, This isn't awkward at all, but you kind of get used to it.
Now
There's
that's when
a
you
new
that's
hat every month.
that's when you lean into it and you just start speaking stereotypical German. I can't do a good German accent. I know you just got I know you just gotta sound angry.
Angry and use a
why
lot of
there's so
syllables.
many trees in Paris?
Huh?
Germans don't like marching in the sun.
Damn.
Oh,
Goddamn Germans.
I'm only 13% German.
Oh, so you're 13% Nazi. Got it.
Apparently.
I knew it.
But I'm even greater percent like Northern European, so I'm not worried about it.
I thought you were about to say like African. Be like, I'm 13% African, so I get 13% of the pass.
No, I have some percentage of native in me. My grandfather was half blood Yaqui, so do with that what you will.
Oh, so you're one of those hoo ha 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 kind of people. You know what I mean?
Actually, no. I know that I barely have any blood in me, and I don't pretend to be part of something that I'm clearly not. I'm very self-aware of the fact that I barely have any Yaqui in me. But I know there's some people that is like, I'm descended from Indian. Like, no, I'm not. I don't have that much in me. My dad did, my grandpa did. Like, they're the special ones, not me.
Maybe if I had more native in me, I'd be a little bit taller. That would be
Be
nice.
a baller.
And I'd be a baller. Yeah, I'd be taller and a baller. Hit the nail right on the head with that one.
Be rolling it.
Something with a girl, you'd call her.
Are these bars? Are you spitting bars right now?
He's spitting them, yeah.
Shit, it's better than Ice Spice's lyrics. I'll give him that.
Oh, you missed out. Well, maybe you didn't miss out. Skytex and a handful of us, like, we collectively fixed Pound Town. Like,
How is that even possible to fix that?
so I think Skytex took the lyrics of Pound Town.
Through Suno.
Yeah, he put it through Suno, and like you listen to the original version of Pound Town, like it's abysmal. It makes you want to go like eat glass, kind of abysmal. And you just take the lyrics, you put them in Suno, and throw some kind of hip hop in there. It sounds good. Like, it legit sounds fucking good. The lyrics are kind of shit, but it sounds good. Suno has the attempt to make it sound good. And it's like, oh, this is what it could have sounded like if you properly had like a producer and engineer who knew what the fuck they were doing, rather than some random person who just hit record and just spit bullshit into the microphone like I've seen people do.
I think it would be better if we just didn't gas up some ratchet ass bitch and called her the next fucking big thing in hip hop, but that's just me. I thought people were supposed to have talent. What happened to having talent?
No, I was going to college in the 2010s, and I would be sitting in a music studio, and I would see some. I always got this like Real McCoy type vibe where you got the white guy and the black girl, but it was rap, and the black girl would come in and do her lines, which were a lot fewer and far between, and then the white guy would come in, and because he was so high on himself, he sucked his dick every night, he had to do it all in one fucking take, and you'd see his energy just drop. Like, you'd hear the click track, he'd hear everything, and then his energy would just fucking go through, and everyone was like, do you want to like start from halfway through? No, man, I'm an artist. I got to start from the beginning. It's like, no, you're not Richie Valens. Get the fuck out of here. They all think they're the hottest shit. They all think they can do it in one fucking take, and we'll just fix it in post. No, motherfucker, your energy started going way by the second goddamn bar. But these artists,
we'll just use Suno. Don't worry about it.
These days, yeah, we'll just Suno the hell out of it. We don't need to. We'll sample your lyrics, and then we'll take your lyrics and we'll make an AI out of them, and then we'll throw it in as a Suno of some sort, and then we'll put it on. And then
Like,
that'll
damn,
be
Skytex is a better music producer than most of the people in the big leagues. Let that sit in for a minute.
Yeah, and like I said, I've went to college for music engineering. I know the secrets of some of the shit that these people use.
Well, how did that go? It doesn't seem like you're using that degree.
No, because by the time I realized I actually really want to do something with it, music engineers were mostly for like film, or you just kind of did stuff out of your, like, you didn't really need a degree because the technology was getting better. You didn't need all that knowledge to be able to sit in front of a studio. You could literally do this shit in your bedroom. And so engineers were not really needed unless you knew friends in Hollywood, or some other production, or if you knew a band and you could get on board that way. Like, full-on music engineers are not necessary anymore. Case in point, what the fuck is it? God damn it. I had his name. Hang on a sec. Who sang...
Well, I mean, that's why it's past tense. You had it, but you lost it now.
Who sang the song? Danzig.
It's like me when I say I used to be sane. Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
I wasn't.
So, like, a music engineer would have been good for Danzig's... Danzig came out with 2 movies. They're both shit. And apparently, one of them, Danzig was the actual audio mixer. You can tell because it's shit. Which tells me Danzig's not an audio engineer. He needed an engineer, but apparently Hollywood doesn't need engineers anymore. So you have Danzig, who is a musician, who probably needed engineers to fix his shit behind the scenes anyways, doing this stuff and making it absolutely garbage. So that's why it's like, yeah, Danzig, the singer of Mother. You're going to head out? All right. Good night, Alan Jones. Good to see you again.
Hey, Alan.
Glad that you kicked the ass of that hacker.
I was about to say, it's like, don't get hacked again, Alan.
Oh, he's the GOAT. He'll overcome anything.
Yeah, because I got a message on Twitter, and I was like, this looks suspicious. I'm going to text him on Discord.
Oh, yeah, I was streaming Repo when I think Skytex had messaged me. He was like, I got this weird link from you, Alan. Is there a bot on your Twitter? Alan looks and he comes back. He's like, motherfucker, I got hacked. It's like, damn.
I'm like, God damn it, Alan. 2-factor authentication, come on.
That made me
Shit,
go
bro,
check
that
mine.
That reminds me about with 2-factor authentication. Whenever, I don't know how the fuck I fucked this up, but thank God I didn't turn my original phone into T-Mobile that day, because I had to go through a whole rigmarole because I guess I forgot my decryption password for my authenticator app.
Oh, wow.
So if I didn't have the original phone, I would have locked myself out of everything, because I ended up having to go through on the original phone and remove 2-factor from everything.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
obviously it wouldn't be encrypted, and then re-add it on the new phone under a decryption password that I wrote down somewhere. So hopefully that won't happen again. I don't know how I forgot my decryption password though, because actually, should I even say that? Well, let's just say I don't use the best password standards, because I don't trust myself. I do use a password manager, but even still, I don't want to have like 30 different passwords. Like some people say, you need to have a new password for every goddamn thing you have. I'm like, bro, even like I don't want to have to rely on the password manager.
Yeah. The key to a good password manager is never tell anyone, never acknowledge which one it is. Because there's a handful in existence that actually the hashes have been broken. One of them I know of because I actually know a black hat hacker. I had mentioned as an example a certain password manager, and he instantly responded with, oh, so I now know how I can breach your stuff because this password manager was breached like 2 years ago, and so now the hashes can be decrypted. I'm like, well, fuck. I guess can't have anything nice. So, yeah, the key to your password manager is never let anyone know which one you have. Because it's in that regard, it's usually about security by office security.
Well, the best security is to not tell people what security you're using in the
Yes.
first place, because that's like opening the fucking floodgates for a challenge.
It is.
Like,
It really is.
Don't tell people what password manager. Don't tell people the authentication app. Although I think authentication apps are usually extremely secure.
Usually.
Because they have to be.
Yeah.
But regardless, like it's best not to give people clues on how they can penetrate you. You know.
Yeah.
'Cause, well, okay. Well, penetration. Ha ha.
Oh, I've been
Funny.
part of penetration tests. I've been
Ayo.
part of those. Those are, oh boy, those are interesting. I nearly put a hacker through the fucking wall because I didn't know what it was. I was working healthcare back in like 2018, and we had all gone through cybersecurity like training at the organization. It was like a week-long course, and then like something about it just seemed weird. Like they were really pushing it. They wanted ever like, well, you got to have this done by this date. And I'm just like, why are you doing this? What's going on here? And we all did it. And then there was an email that went around and said, okay, thank you everyone for participation. It's very good to have this. And then no joke, 2 weeks fucking later, I get an instant message from one of the clinics down the road saying that someone is claiming to be a network admin trying to get in. He wants to know where the servers are in this room. And I asked for the name of the admin, and the receptionist gave me the name. We only had 2 network admins in the entire company. I knew them both by name and face, but I looked this person's name up and it didn't exist. I hop in my car, drive 2 miles over, find this guy, rip his box out of his hand, and like lock him out of the room. And I open this thing up, and it's like a Raspberry Pi with a cell phone, battery charger, a Wi-Fi adapter. This guy was trying to like brute force port scan all of our shit. And we about called the police on him. Turns out he was a pen tester hired by the IT director, and he didn't tell fucking anybody. And we nearly, like, I nearly
To be fair, he's probably not supposed to tell anybody, because that's kind of the point of the pen testing. Is to kind of, I guess, emulate a real situation. But I was about to say, I was like, man, I would have beat his ass. I was like, well, that would have been awkward.
Oh, it really was. Like, we had him locked out. He wasn't leaving, and that was the first red flag. Like, if he was a real hacker, he would have just like took off. He would have taken his losses and left. But he was waiting. He wanted his stuff back, and was like, something's going on here. And then one of the other guys I was working with, he came in, and he took a look at it, and we get on the phone with the level 2 sysadmin who was right next to my office. And he gets on the phone with the IT director, and he says, Mr. Director, I'm not going to say his name. It's like, we got him cornered. Like, you sure he's not with us? Director says, no. He said, all right, I'm calling PD right now. You guys secure him in a room, and we'll wait for PD. And then the director's like, no. He finally came clean. But, yeah, we went up to him afterward. He was smoking a cigarette because he was fucking stressed as hell. But yeah, that's a weird ramble.
What a fun job. What a fun job he has, apparently. Like, fucking got, like, fucking locked up in a room, like, basically citizen's arrest. Just another day on the job.
He was breaking into a HIPAA secured facility. Like, we couldn't allow him to go willy-nilly. Like, you can't enter these rooms without having a badge. So already, like, there's an aspect of security being broken, but then also, like, the company secrets, like, we had a lot of data, we had patient data, whole kinds of legalese.
Was him getting stopped part of the scenario, or, like, was he supposed to, or were y'all supposed to allow him to do his scan?
Well, the test was to see whether or not it was his job to get as far into the facility as possible. It was essentially our job to prevent it. So it was Team Fortress. It was the tug of war of who was going to win. We won in this location because the reception notified me. I notified the people. I went and I cornered him. He did not walk away with anything. The person who did get in trouble, though, was the manager, who allowed him into the building. Just willing, oh, you've got a badge, okay, you're fine. Didn't go and verify this person, didn't check to see if there was any orders or anything. You know, the managers just didn't care. So that person failed, but me, I absolutely passed my part of the test. And that's the game.
It's like when I worked at Kroger's, and I think it happened to me twice, when they sent the person to try to buy alcohol and to test if we would ask for IDs. And luckily I always passed because everybody got asked. If you looked even slightly young, I was asking you for that ID. Now if you looked old as hell, then I was gonna probably most likely skip it. Because that's kind of how the protocol works. Like if they look under 40 or something, you're supposed to ask.
Yeah.
But luckily I passed because I was like, hey, wait a minute, let me see your ID. And then as soon as I would show my ID or get their ID, they'd be like, they'd give me like a card or something like, oh, you passed. I'm like, oh, you were trying to bamboozle me.
Yeah, I remember hearing that the FBI was doing a sting operation across the entire country and was testing people, and they got a lot of people. They got a lot of people that were not carding. So I don't know if those people got fired.
You know how many shady gas stations there are where you can probably get away with buying stuff that you're not supposed to be able to buy?
Oh, I can imagine. I can absolutely imagine.
It's kind of like how there's a bunch of places where if your car shouldn't pass inspection, you can just, you know, hint, hint, you know, go to a certain place and, oh, what's that? It passed. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. I know people who've done that.
Oh yeah.
I know people who've used those facilities to get their car to pass inspection. I don't necessarily even care because it's whatever. Because sometimes it's like, if you think about it, it's kind of a scam that you can't. You legally can't drive your car if the cat is throwing a code and you're like, well, this car is like worth $2 and like a paper clip and maybe like a spit on the forehead or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not gonna replace the goddamn catalytic converters on a car this fucking decrepit, but okay, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, there's a lot of people that get caught doing things they shouldn't be doing.
That's another one of those things where we're from the government, we're here to help, is the tagline, but then the process kicks in. It's like, what is this? What really is the purpose of this?
I think I ranted about this before. It don't make any sense. I can't pass inspection if my catalytic converter is throwing a code, but fucking Jim Bob can have a 2007 Nissan Altima. Front bumper's gone. Back window's got trash bags on it. The trunk is so dented in that it doesn't even open anymore. Thing sounds like a goddamn lawnmower. Side skirts are hanging off damn near. The window's got like a crack that looks like fucking the Big Show body slammed the fucking thing. And that's fine. That can roll down the road.
But not your car.
Yeah, not my car. If it's throwing one of those evap leaks or something, make it make sense.
Yeah.
God forbid.
One of the
rolling death trap can roll down the road, but not me because I'm polluting too much.
The hit and miss protocol is just so ridiculous. Like I've worked in 17 states. Most of them are airports, and I will go to an airport, and if I don't have what's called a SIDA badge to work at, or a sterile badge, I need an escort to get to the checkpoint to be able to install my shit. I have a PIV card, which means I am DHS TSA cleared. I have been background checked by FBI. I am not a threat, but I need
you fucking fed.
Yeah, I know, right? But I don't have a SIDA badge for the airport, so I need an escort. I typically need to get an escort for the first like 6 to 7 weeks. And then around the 7th to 8th week, people at the airport, they know me, and they look at me, they look at my badge, they look at my face, they look over, and they're like, just go, man. I know who you are. It's like, that's not the fucking rule. And I go approach the area. It's like, yeah, I'm message my escort. I'm just waiting for them. Or I'll say I need a manager to escort me. You know, they'll need to pull a manager from the checkpoint down to verify me. No, the person right there, the operator, just looks at it, says, just go, man. Manager's not showing up. It's like, why the fuck have the rules?
You can just go. Just give me a good old tug and pull after my shift is over. You know.
It frustrates the mind because, you know, it's supposed to be all about box checking, and yet the box checking is not done by the literal people who created the box checking. Well, not created the box, but they're supposed to be the ones checking the boxes. And I don't ask for special treatment.
Man, I wish I was alive before I was alive before 9/11, but I wish I was going on planes. I wish I was coherent before 9/11, because apparently back in the ye old days, you know, this is just you in your natural habitat at that time. But back in the ye old days, apparently you just went to the airport, checked in, and then that was it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to fucking go through a long ass checkpoint. They're inspecting your bag. They see something and they're like, we need to move to the side. We need to check this. We need to make sure you don't got nothing in here like a bomb. And they're like literally checking my facial wipes to see if I don't know, hid like a razor blade or a fucking 3D printed gun in there. I'm like, bro, do I look at the color of myself? Do I look like a terrorist to you?
You know, this'll sound really, really racist, but you know what the TSA system is based off of? Israel. Israel had this system in play decades before 9/11. And all of these companies, the companies that do the X-ray scanning that people like me install, all of this came from a company called Envision, and one of their biggest customers was the country of Israel, because they needed this kind of thorough checklist.
Genocide.
They had people who didn't like them for decades, and so they had these systems in play, and Envision created all these systems, and Envision was about to go out of business. Their stock was failing, and then this unfortunate event happened in late 2001 called September 11th, and within 6 months, companies branched out, and they couldn't install enough of this shit at checkpoints. But yeah, the U.S.
Coincidence? I think not.
Dun
dun dun.
You could see it as like a big old business decision. I really do think, had 9/11 not happened, Envision would have just gone out of business. It just would have gone. The real like conspiracy would be if you were to read something like the Project for New
Wait a
American
minute.
Century.
Conspiracy. Envision did 9/11.
Not
Not confirmed. In Minecraft. Do not sue me.
No.
I'm autistic. You can't sue me.
Well, you know, allegedly.
Allegedly.
An inside job.
Allegedly. I am not a lawyer. Allegedly.
No, the way to really follow where the conspiracy went is just read the Project for New American Century. I think it was written 98 or 99. Or just watch a video of it on YouTube. It's a really interesting video. It talks about how basically the United States needed to double up or just re-secure itself as the dominant force of the world. And like we have a lot of military. Like, we need to branch out. But we can't really do anything like this because the public is happy where we are as being a non-war state. So we kind of need something.
Bro, this is literally the plot of Metal Gear Rising.
The line that is written in the fucking document, I kid you not, we need some... It's we need some large catastrophe or, quote, a new Pearl Harbor, end quote. That's a fucking line.
It literally sounds like Sundowner in Metal Gear Rising, where he was like, "Give war a chance."
There's been a lot of like accidental movies that people have tried to say were signs that 9/11 was going to happen. One of the big ones was in it's this really good film called A Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. There's a line that the villain says. He says, "I don't know how to fake killing 3,000 people, so I'm just going to have to do it for real." And it was a real weird one, like throwaway line that no one really thought of at the time the movie came out. But then 9/11 happened and people happened to go back and rewatch it and it's like, holy shit. That's really weird. They're really convenient coincidences. Another weird one is Chris Carter, the creator of The X-Files. He was approached in the mid-90s by apparently some people at the CIA, and they wanted him to write an episode specifically for The X-Files. And it was an episode where a remote-controlled airplane would fly into like a skyscraper, or I think they used the phrase the World Trade Center. And he was like, no, not really. And he shelved it for several years, but he brought that idea back as the pilot episode for the Lone Gunman show, which aired about 6 months before 9/11. And it played out beat for beat almost exactly the way that 9/11 happened. Except that the Lone Gunman crew were on the airplane, the cruise liner that was supposed to go into one of the towers. And of course, the Lone Gunman, like, they disabled the remote control and they steered away. Chris talked about, like, the shock of that episode airing and then 9/11 happening. He's like, what the fuck did I do?
I guess they should have had the Lone Gunman on that plane that day. Shit.
But, like, there's weird things that you see. Like, you go back and look up Operation Northwoods, and it basically talks about another scenario where, you know, George Herbert Walker Bush was at I think it was the CIA or the FBI at the time. He was like the director of the agency. Northwoods talked about remote control flying an airliner over Cuba and it getting shot down, and we get involved in war with Cuba. Like, we didn't have an excuse to get in war with Cuba, so we'd have to invent it. Like, that kind of shit was written down on paper back then, and, you know, it's just weird little things like that are out there. And it's clues of why a lot of people don't trust the government, because, yeah, they tried to force wars that no one really wanted, but they understood that the only way to force a war is to have some bad shit happen that would force the emotions of people. Again, kind of...
Metal Gear talked about this so much, about how war is good for the economy.
Unfortunately, yeah, it is. Like, I hate to agree with it, but there are profits to be made when there's, like, not the Desert Storm, but like the 2003 through 2006 war. Damn, the economy was roaring. Like, things were looking really good, as weird as it is to say, because we were in war. Like, I remember the CNN videos.
They were looking good for us, maybe not for the people we're bombing.
Yeah, for the people in Afghanistan. Like, I've known a group of veterans that were on the front lines of Iraq and Afghanistan in 2006. One of them, he was a field service engineer for one of the healthcare companies, and he got fucked up over there. You can kind of tell. He doesn't talk about it very much, but he saw some shit over there. And he was one of those, it's kind of one of the reasons why I appreciate the people who have the saws, the big box machine guns. Like, those are the heaviest fucking things there, but they fucked up some shit when they pulled that trigger. It'd go bang. But...
damn.
Yeah.
Well, they don't call it the saw for nothing.
No, they do not. That is very true.
It cuts through all the terrorists.
There's a video. It's like a short of some guy in training. He says, I'm never going to complain about another mofo in Call of Duty holding the saw because he's got a saw. There's no box on it, so he doesn't have the 9 yards of bullshit. And he's trying to run up. He does his crash and he goes, hun, 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 and like people start laughing, but you see him trying to like this heavy ass son of a bitch. He's trying to mount this thing, get down on one knee, aim, pull the trigger. It's like, no, it is not as easy as Call of Duty makes it seem, where you're like running, slide down, get your crosshairs out. Like they treat it like it's 5 pounds, like a saw is.
You're telling me I can't do a 360 no scope with a M24 saw?
No, unfortunately.
Fuck. Call of Duty lied to me, you bastards!
They-
I thought I was a badass.
Yeah, I know.
I got scammed again. Goddamn it, Activision.
But I like
mean,
the saw. Every time.
You're supposed to scam your players. Well, I guess that just falls right in line then.
As I'm looking at all this DLC here, DLC for DLC, yeah.
That sounds about right. You know, speaking of guns, I need to buy a gun, and I was looking at the Glock 43X, very tiny Glock, but it's like $500. They aren't giving those Glocks away.
Is that the 380? I think it's the 380.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Oh, it's a 9mm. Okay. Now I was looking into maybe it's the 43. One of them, there's the, because I have a camera mic.
The 43 is just the older version of the 43X. I think it had a shorter trigger or hand, whatever you want to call it. That place where you put your hand.
Yeah.
43X just extends that a little bit more over the original 43, so you can have a.
That's what it was.
You can have a double stack 15 rounder.
Yeah,
without needing an extension.
Yeah, the 43. I've held a 43, and I have Trumpy hands, but yeah, I would have needed the extension. So, okay, interesting.
It's very expensive. $500. A lot of money. A lot of cheddar.
It's not bad, actually. When I was looking for my handgun, I perused around at a few things, and there was it a P90 they had for sale? They were selling the thing. It was like $1,400. So $500 for something, it's not bad.
I mean, I don't know. It's a Glock. I was shot at a Glock. I don't know which Glock I shot at the range. I didn't look on the housing to see which Glock it is. It was a 9mm, but it doesn't really say much because most of Glock is 9mm. So
yeah,
I can't tell. I don't know if it was a. I don't think it was a 17. I mean, it could have been a 17, but I doubt it was a 17. It could have been a Glock 93. Who the fuck knows?
17s and 19s are typical from what I've seen. It's one that a lot of people tend to go to because it's also, I think, standard issue for a lot of PD if they're going with a Glock.
It probably was a 19 I was shooting at the range. I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know. I haven't bought my first gun yet, but I've looked into it. Not that I wouldn't have to use it, but it would be nice to have a gun to take to the range. And shoot my own gun.
Just throw bullets at the target.
Just like go hot shots and
Look,
throw bullets.
Apparently, I mean, we weren't circling our targets, but it looked like I was shooting more accurately for my first time shooting than my friends were. And some of them have already shot guns before. I swear to God, I was shooting more accurately than they were.
It's very possible.
I might be the next John Wick. Wouldn't it be kind of fucked up if I turned out to be a good shooter?
I think that would be fantastic.
Out of all things to be good at, that would be my calling. Like, oh, you just so happen to be accurate with a gun. Like, what the fuck kind of goddamn hidden potential was this?
But you can't run in heels.
Nope.
I've never even worn heels. I don't think I want to wear heels. That shit looks uncomfortable. I don't know how women wear them. I mean, it makes their butt look good, and I think that's the only reason why anybody does wear them.
Probably.
You lift and separate.
I ain't got no. I don't think heels will help my flat ass. That's a crapshoot. That's not happening. They're heels can help, but they're not miracle workers. It's kind of like so, cause basically, I think I've talked about this before, maybe on streams, but my Fiat's windshield is it's cracked in so many places, and because I just keep getting completely unlucky, and things just keep launching at my fucking window like a heat-seeking missile. Like right after
Damn.
right after it snowed in Texas, I was driving to a store for work or whatever, and a Walmart 18-wheeler passed me in the opposing lane, and right as we passed each other, it dropped a sheet of ice right down on my windshield and cracked it all to hell.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow, that's great. I just add that to the, and then I think just prior I'd gotten a ding from a rock launching at my windshield. I think even after that happened, there's another crack near the bottom. Like, so I've got like 3-4 different cracks. So I go to my local glass place to have them look at it. Obviously, they're not even gonna try to fill in the cracks. I don't know if it's possible. I feel like it should be possible to at least fill in the even though they're long as fuck. But I'm not a glass expert, so I don't fucking know. So they're looking up like, okay, well, what's it gonna cost to replace this fucking glass? And they're like, and she looks it up, and she's shocked. $450 to replace the glass on that car. And she was like, huh, that's kind of high. And then she's like, oh, it's because there's only one manufacturer that makes the glass for your car. Like, oh, that sounds about right. Those bastards. Like,
I was going to say, that sounds low.
We're the only ones making it, so you're going to pay out the ass for it. Well, she says usually it's about $300 to $350.
Depending on the maker of it, I've heard that they can be up to 1,000, but the reason that some of them are 1,000 is because they have a little heat emitter in there to defrost the glass, and there's a wire that they have to hook in.
Here's where it gets fucked up, right? So I was like, okay, all right, if that's so high, let's see. I want to compare. I was like, quote me on what it would cost to replace the glass on my Lexus. And so we run through like, okay, well, what car which one is it? What features does the car have? Blah, blah, blah. Does it have a sensor? And this is the glass, and I asked her, this is for another piece of acoustic glass, which that's part of it. It uses an acoustic glass because that's what luxury cars do. And it has to be recalibrated because it has a sensor up near the mirror for like the light sensing and the auto dimming mirrors and things of that nature. So it's pretty fancy. You know, there's a lot more involved in replacing the glass on the Fiat that has no kinds of special features literally whatsoever, except for the antenna being inside the windshield because it has to be, because I have the convertible model. But after calibration and everything and labor, $650.
Wow.
$650 for a much more complicated setup, for much better glass, bigger glass at that. $650. But $450 for the most basic ass piece of glass. And it's because there's only one person that currently manufactures the glass for that car. I'm like, this is some bullshit, bro.
Glass is bullshit. I don't have full coverage on the Fiat. I stopped because I was like, nah, I'm not gonna pay full coverage on two cars. Only the Lexus gets full coverage, and that's because it has to. And even if I didn't have to, I'd still do it because, God forbid something happens, I'm not paying out of pocket. So even if I did have to replace the glass on the Lexus, that's covered on my insurance. But still, $650? Only $200 more? I was expecting 1,000. I literally said like I was expecting her to say $1,000. That's what I would expect, yeah.
Well, if you go to a dealership, it probably would be about $1,000. The dealership's always going to cost more.
Glass scares me these days because I have to work with it, and I had 2 panes of glass that exploded in my hands. Literally, like they were the tempered glass. They were about I think a half-inch thick, and we were using them. We were building these lanes, and I pull the glass. They're out of they keep them like stacked together vertically in these crates. And I pulled one out, and I'm being very careful with it, and the thing started breaking at my hand. Like, the squeezing of it of my hand caused it to shatter, and it just breaks into a million pieces. So that's one. And it's like, okay, you know, whatever. Next day, because it was like towards the end of the day, came in, grabbed another piece, shattered again. I was like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm done with glass. Either I'm too fucking strong, or this glass, oh, hi, Bonzi. Or this glass is like weak as shit. And I think some of these panes of glass were 1,000 apiece.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. So I just have these long cracks. I'm probably gonna stay there because I'm like, I got other things I need to fix. My AC is out again. I paid $1,500
Yeah.
to replace all the AC components, and it seems as though the new compressor that he put in already kicked the bucket after 5 months. So I've been in the struggle fest driving around with no AC, and it's starting to get a little bit toasty. At least inside the car, it's getting a little bit toasty. I'm dying. It's not even summer yet, so I'm gonna get that shit fixed quick. I ain't trying to die inside my car.
Compressors shouldn't be that much.
Well, okay, so I don't have to pay for the compressor. It's obviously gonna be warrantied out. I do have to pay a little bit of labor. He's gonna heavily discount it, but he doesn't. He only warranties the work for about 60 days, and it's been 5 months, so he's under no obligation to completely do the job for free. But obviously, the compressor is gonna be warrantied out because it shouldn't have died in the first place.
Yeah.
It's been 5 months, and he told me it wasn't remanufactured. He said it was brand new.
Oh, that don't mean much these days. My car, my Pontiac, eats water pumps like you wouldn't believe. Either that or mechanics are lying to me, and there's, oh, you need a new water pump. You need a new water pump.
They might be lying to you. I don't know. They might be lying to you. Parts canning it. I don't know. And you're probably falling for it. I mean, shit.
Possibly.
I'm glad my car doesn't do that because every time I do the water pump, that's expensive. Because I mean, that involves basically the timing belt job. And
I do
timing
kind
belt
of.
job is about $1,000 each time.
I do
And that's
kind of call them
because-
out. Yeah.
And that's because it's almost, well, I guess it depends on how you do it. Some people will prefer to pull the engine out for a timing belt job. Luckily, my mechanic didn't do an engine out. He just struggled and fit his hands in there as best as he could. But
I guess depending on how the engine is sitting in there. But yeah, that seems like overkill. Pull the whole damn engine block out.
Go look at the engine bay for a Fiat 500. There's no room. There's literally no room. It's pretty bad. It's not as bad as like, it's not like I think it's the Audi R8, you know, the car that freaking Cody had. Pretty much, there's a lot of major things that require the engine to be completely removed from the car. Even like simple shit, like I think the compressor is an engine out job.
Oh, wow.
Because German engineering.
Yeah, you're... Damn, yeah, I'm looking for the belts. I think they're covered up, but I'm looking for the...
There's obviously a timing cover, because you don't want to have the belt completely exposed to the elements.
Oh, that's a classic. That's from the back. Damn. Rip.
It's in there somewhere. It's in there. It's not easy to get to, but it's in there. Luckily,
Damn.
the serpentine belt is not too hard to replace. I've replaced that like I think 3 times at this point, just because I might as well. Because they were doing, I think I had them replace the serpentine belt when they did the compressor. Because I was like, you know what, the belt's like what, $15? Might as well do it. It's been like 60,000 miles since the last time, so just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there ain't no space in there. I'm starting to think I just need to cut my losses and fucking send the car to the scrap heap, but
It's possible.
something's wrong with me. I don't want to do it. I just keep fixing the damn thing. I'm like, no, I am gonna keep this car into the bitter end, even if it's fucking draining my wallet.
I have that question myself with my, I have a car that I've had since 2017, I think. It's a Subaru, and it's got a CVT engine. Go figure on what the fuck problem is with that, and I think it's going out. It's like, god damn it. No. I've already put a new engine in this thing because the previous one had a rod knock. It wasn't my fault. It came with one.
The transmission, Karis.
What's that?
The CVT is the transmission.
Yes, the CVT is going out.
Oh, well, yeah, I hope you have like $6,000-$7,000.
No, not right now.
Well, that's probably what it's gonna cost.
Oh yeah, I see that. At least $5,000.
There is no rebuilding those.
Nope.
You're buying another one.
Oh yeah.
And if you buy a used one, the same thing is gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
No,
I've thought about that.
But then again, it's also your fault. You should have been replacing the fluid.
I don't think the transmission was my fault either. I think it was just... So I replaced the engine, and the engine's great. The engine works fine. But then I noticed there was What's that?
Manual swap it.
Maybe. But then I noticed something was, like, from the get-go, wasn't quite right with the transmission. But it worked, but then over time of using it, it's like, it just started going out more and more. And, like, I do my maintenances and fluid changes, but it's like, still starting to go.
But did you do the transmission?
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure?
I was raised by a guy who was a mechanic who...
You did a drain and refill?
Well, you can't really drain from the... You have to go through, like, the dipstick or something like that, but... Yeah.
Does it have a dipstick? A lot of CVTs
For the CVTs, yeah. They have... Well, the older ones. I don't know about the newer ones, but the older ones, like this was an 04. There is a dipstick still.
Yeah, there's no dipstick on modern ones. You just have to pull the drain plug, drain whatever comes out, put whatever, measure it, put the same amount back in. That's usually how that shit works.
It's not the same with, like, see, like my 07 Pontiac. You can drop the pan and, like, do the whole servicing bit from there. You can expose the whole transmission. That one's great. But you
can drop the, well, I guess I don't know about on CVT. On a normal auto transmission, you can just drop the whole pan, but that might mess up your I guess measurements, because you need to make sure you put exactly how much you took. Like back in.
I have there's a shop that I've gone to for years. This shop has saved my ass. Like, when the Pontiac broke down, I was in Medford, Oregon. The shop, like, damaged the engine. My local Midas went to bat for me by going to franchising and forced, like, damn near at metaphorical gunpoint, forced this shop to give me a free engine because they fucked it up. Where the insurance company even said, the engine's damaged, we're not doing anything about it. So this shop's really good. I go to them for transmission stuff, and they know, like, they'll drop the pan, they'll replace the seal, they'll do all the proper shit. They don't do like what Valvoline or Jiffy Lube does, where they just shove the tube down there and suck it out and put new stuff in. Like, if there's a pan that can be dropped, they'll drop the pan. Absolutely.
I think I had my mechanic do the filter on my Fiat's transmission along with the drain and refill. And I saw the old fluid. It was looking a little bit black. It was a little bit dirty. It was definitely It was definitely due for that fluid change, and that's probably why the damn thing still runs down the road. That, and because I've changed the oil every 5,000 miles, no question, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And now the Lexus is getting near to 60,000 miles, and because it's 2018, I'm probably gonna pay out the ass to have all the fluids changed. We're talking brakes, coolant. I think there's 2 different cooling systems. I believe there might be 2 separate cooling systems for the turbo and the engine itself.
Differentials?
Yeah, it's got a rear diff or whatever, since it's rear-wheel drive, so I'll have to have that fluid changed, and obviously the fluid on the 8-speed auto. I'm gonna do all of that. All of it. No expense spared. Well,
Go
I
full
mean,
John Hammond.
I wish I could spare expense, but I can't. Unless I want the car to not last.
Yeah.
Fucking draining my goddamn wallet. I would have so much. You know how much I probably have 10 grand in saving if it wasn't for that Fiat. Because in 1 month I spent about $2,000 fixing it. So I would have damn near $10,000 in my savings account if it wasn't for that. So fucking God, the pains of owning vehicles.
Yep.
I'm broke.
Well, that's weird.
Well, even worse, you know, this is completely unrelated to vehicles. My brother's room, for whatever reason, gets fucking hot as shit, even hotter than my room. I don't know why. And I have a smart thermostat, but obviously it's cooling based on the living room where it's at. So, you know, it's obviously my brother's room is getting hot, but it's cooling based on the living room, so you can see where the problem is there. So he goes and he buys one of those little temperature sensors for the Google Nest that you can put in different rooms and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Only to come to find out, our thermostat is not compatible with those sensors.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, because we have the Google Nest. I believe it's called like the 1.4, or also known as the Google Nest 2020 or whatever. And it just so happens you need to have the Google Nest E or one of the more fancier learning thermostats. I'm like, yeah, a bunch of bastards, bro. There ain't no reason why this can't work. So now we gotta go buy another thermostat. Just because of that.
Convenient.
Yeah, very convenient. Even though the thermostat that's on the wall, it works.
But it doesn't have the right drivers.
It doesn't have the right whatever to be able to allow us to use per room temperature sensors. Even though I'm pretty sure that's all done through the software, so I think it should, in theory, work. I think Google is just artificially locking you out. And the funny thing is, they still, like, it's actually harder to find a Google Nest E. You can't buy those at Best Buy, but you can buy you can find a whole bunch of Best Buys selling the more expensive learning thermostat or the one that I have. I'm like, well, why the fuck are they selling this old one if it's that outdated? Y'all killing me here. We just want our rooms to be a proper temperature. I don't want to be swimming in ass sweat when I'm sitting in my room.
You can't get one off Amazon?
That's where we're most likely gonna buy it from. We're gonna probably get the Google Nest E. Because we don't want to spend like $200 on the fancier learning thermostat. I'm just like, bro, I just want a thermostat. Like, the only reason I bought the thermostat in the first place is because obviously the ones that come with apartments are always dog shit. You can't do anything with those.
Fucking serious, Google. I found one on Amazon, not Google. $100.
Yeah, that's the one we're looking at. That was like the one place, so we're probably end up buying that one to solve that issue. Well, the self-imposed issue, I would like to say, because it shouldn't be an issue. But you know, companies are gonna do what companies are gonna do, and they're gonna make you buy shit you don't need.
Of course. Well, damn, gentlemen. I think I'm gonna bring this event to a close. It is 12:30 in the morning. I can only imagine it's later where you are, Ginger.
2:30.
Damn. Late night for you.
I was wondering why you're going so goddamn late. It's like, I was like looking at the clock. I'm like, what the hell are you streaming at 2:30 in the morning? I thought I streamed late when I you know, back in the ye old days when I used to stream, you know.
Before you retired.
I haven't not retired. I just haven't streamed. Okay, I put out 2 videos. What do you want from me?
Streams.
And the fucking Hassan video is well, I mean, it's not really getting comments anymore, but most of the comments is just Hassan Piker defenders.
Well, those are the best ones.
Yeah, of course. Every time I put out a video about a YouTuber, I always get their fan base watching it.
It's like they look for
It
that
happens
stuff.
every time. I'm telling you. I think they do. I think they do. It must have been recommended to them because the entire conversation is like, it's like, you're just feeding into the trend of hating on Hassan Piker. You don't even have legitimate reasons why you don't dislike him. You're just hopping on the trend. I'm like,
The
bro,
guy's garbage.
I'm like, he's garbage. I don't even care about his politics. He's just a garbage person. He has a bad personality. I don't like his personality. And all these people are coping like you're taking these clips out of context. He just has an edgy sense of humor. I'm like, no, he said that America deserved 9/11, and that's not. He wasn't being ironic. He wasn't laughing about it. He doubled down on it too when he was pressed about it.
I've known
meant that
people
shit.
who I used to kind of think like that as this absolutist, like, oh, America deserves this or that, or you're only going to get a result if you like put a gun to something. Like I used to think like that in my early 20s when I was young and stupid. But then I realized while learning and becoming experienced that that kind of thought process doesn't really work. And here
general,
Hassan
like,
is.
The fucking coping from his goddamn audience is like, y'all completely missed the point of what my video was about. I mentioned some of the things I don't like about him, but the main point of the video was the fact that he made a threat, got banned, and
Got unbanned.
it's justified, and then he got unbanned literally right before I published the video. 'Cause of course
Yeah.
that happened. But if anything, that actually just made the point of my video even more clear, because I literally said in the video he's probably gonna be unbanned. Well, little did I
That's
know.
right. Yep.
Little did I know, before I even put out the video, I was already right. And it just drove my point home even more that he gets special treatment on Twitch. That's the whole point of the video. Like, yeah, I don't like the guy because of some of the shit he says, but that's neither here nor there. Main point of the video is he says dumb shit, gets away with it, gets special treatment. I was proven right. And then you got the comments that are like, you're just a right winger. That's why you hate Hassan. I'm like, bitch, I took the test. I am a left-leaning libertarian. What the fuck you mean? Right wing.
They have
They're
to
like-
apply a title. You have to be the bad guy for them.
And I tell these people this, and they're like, you're just one of those right wingers who tries to say they have left-leaning views. I'm like, I took the test. It definitively says I am left-leaning libertarian.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
The
it doesn't
second
matter.
you step off of the line, you are right.
But as soon as as soon as I say something bad about right wingers, then I get called a left winger. It never makes any sense.
It's called
If I make a
tribalism.
video, anytime I've made a video where it's something that's more talking against the right, then the comments shift, and now they're like, "Oh, you're just a crybaby left winger." I'm like, "What the hell? Am I right wing or am I left wing? Can y'all make up y'all's fucking mind?"
It's tribalism. It's
doesn't
not
matter
meant to make
which wing
sense.
you are, you can't fly. You're
That's
sinking.
so good. It doesn't matter
just-
which wing you are.
I've tried to fly. It didn't work. I hit the ground. It hurt. Okay. Been
You
there,
got-
done that.
You got the wrong wings on backwards, upside down. No wonder you can't fly.
No, I got them from Alibaba. That's probably why.
You got one wing from Temu and another wing from Alibaba, and so the
Your
aerodynamics
wings
is
are
wrong.
spazzing out, and instead of flying,
know how
you're
many-
doing YMCA.
You know how many views I got on the Hassan video? Got like 700. Although the like to dislike is 4 likes and 49 dislikes.
Whoa! They do not like you.
I'm telling you, bro. Every time I put out a video of like expressing an opinion about something, I swear I always have a bad like to dislike ratio. When I made that Helldivers 2 video saying that they hate fun, that
Yeah.
video has 29 likes, 140 dislikes. I made a video about what is it? The Vosh one, just talking about his porn folder getting leaked. 25 likes, 32 dislikes. Let's see what else we got. I'm trying to look for ones that actually. See, that one was a positive one. The Melanie Mac, just a video of me talking about Melanie Mac, 17 likes, 26 dislikes. The Power World. Somehow the Power World drama video has 28 likes, 29 dislikes. Like, I feel like some of these videos, how do I attract so many dislikes? What's the Jim Sterling video? That's my most popular video to date. Let's see, where's the Jim Sterling video? That one has 37,000 views. It has 828 likes, 1,007 dislikes. That one's closer to a 50-50.
Damn.
That one still gets comments to this day.
My most
That's gonna go down as my most top video. Literally just me talking on stream about Jim Sterling because somebody said they looked preggo.
my
And so-
most disliked video is the Subnautica Womp Womp short at 6 dislikes, putting it at 75% dislike.
I'm telling you, bro, it's on site when it comes to me. It don't matter what I talk about. People will hate. When I made the video about the new Naughty Dog IP, that one's 28 likes, 41 dislikes. And I think
You're
this
popular.
I think this one was getting was people probably calling me a left winger because I was just saying like, hey, people are freaking out about something that hasn't even come out yet, which I thought was a very nuanced take. But all the chuds were coming after me. Goddamn chuds, man. I can't win. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what I talk about. I can't win. When I make the video about Killing Floor, somehow they will find a way to dislike it. I am calling it right now. I am manifesting it. It's gonna somehow end up with a negative dislike ratio.
Well, let's do a test. You went on an interesting rant about Killing Floor here. I'll segment that and I'll turn it into like a video or a short, and we'll see if people like it and dislike the fuck out of it as well. We'll do a test on that.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if my video is disliked, but your reaction to my video is liked? If that happens, I'm busting down your door in Minecraft. I'm gonna be like, you bastard! What the fuck?
All right.
Why does the universe hate me? What did I do?
We gotta test that now. All right, I gotta take a note on that. But yeah, I'm gonna bring it to an end here, gentlemen. It has been fantastic to just have a rant. I didn't have a whole lot of subjects because I wasn't super prepared. I was supposed to have a chat with Smash JT. Either
welcome.
he forgot to send me the invite, or I was supposed to watch on his stream the entire time for it. I don't know, but I'm not really worried. I mostly just wanted to chat with the guy because he seems like an awesome individual.
You get
But-
Smash JT. You got Smash G Kami.
Yep, Smash Shikami
Smash GK.
and Smash Scaly.
Yeah, wait. Yeah. We'll call him Smash 1.
I was just thinking that Smash 1.
Somebody else too.
But yeah, when are we gaming again, Ginger? When are we doing that?
I don't know. The few times you hit me up, I happened to not be looking at Discord and I missed it. I was like, oh.
Son of a bitch. Oh well. We'll have to plan something. There's plenty of inventory that we can go through.
Can play Killing Floor 3.
You mean Killing Floor 2?
No, we're gonna play Killing Floor 3.
We are? We're gonna bitch
No.
about it?
I don't even have access to that beta or whatever.
Can I get Killing
I think
Wait,
I don't know how you
Wait.
how you got access to the beta.
it's you can pre-purchase it, that's why. What about the deluxe edition? What does the deluxe give? Can you shut the fuck up, trailer? I don't care about you right now.
Are you talking about Killing Floor 2?
No, 3. You can
Deluxe?
pre-purchase
The
there's-
deluxe shitty version?
yeah, and then
Is
there's
it
a
$100? Because analysts say that that's going to benefit players.
I was going to talk about that, but again, I wasn't prepared for that. Instead, I just shared it in Discord. I fucking called that shit, and so did Rez. Rez
Just
called
buy
that shit too.
Just buy Killing Floor 2. It's probably cheap because it's old as hell. Or maybe they'll jack the price up because nobody wants Killing Floor 3, so they'll jack the price up of Killing Floor 2 because that's what people actually want to play.
Hell, just get Oh, right now?
I already have. I still have the original Killing Floor.
Killing Floor 1 and 2 are less than $5 combined. Killing Floor 1 is $2, $1.99. Killing Floor 2 is $2.99. Get it, people. Fucking get it.
Just don't buy loot boxes.
No.
Don't buy the loot boxes.
No, even like Incursion is $2.99. Killing Floor Toymaster is free.
I bought loot boxes in Killing Floor 2. All I got was like a epic skin for my syringe. That's it.
Oh, never mind. Incursion's VR only. Never mind.
Well, yeah. I heard it wasn't good, anyways.
It's VR. It's an acquired taste, and I am someone who has VR.
I just heard it wasn't a good game.
Ah.
Or it was meh. But anyways, buy Killing Floor 2. We play Killing Floor 2, a good game.
What does this say? Like, just join the beta?
Just don't turn on physics, because that's why I was having problems when I was streaming it way back in days with Zoro. I think it was because I had physics on it, because I guess physics somehow causes problems on modern systems.
Yeah, it was really designed for the early 2000s era video cards, and now the physics is more handled by the game engine rather than the video card.
Because the physics was great in Killing Floor 2. It made the gore like way more interactive. Like you see like entrails just like flailing around.
Oh yeah.
And shit. I turned it off. My game run like shit.
Cryostasis was another one that really highlight the physics. There was a Cryostasis was an awesome game, at least until it got weapons. But that was one that was back in the day, like I think it was like the GTS era of video cards. That was a good one. But I'm getting sidetracked. I'm gonna head out for the night, gentlemen. It has been fantastic chatting with you. Thank you for joining my little rant of talk about whatever the hell. But
Tism Thursday ripoff.
Timu Tism Thursday.
Yep.
There you go. But yeah.
I make music. Yay, music.
Yep, Scaly makes music. He has a couple channels. He posts on one, not so much on another. Ginger, what are you doing? What is your wares that you're promoting?
My half-dead YouTube channel.
It's on live support only because we kick it once in a while and we say, why aren't you doing a thing?
Yeah, basically, that's what I did this week. I was like, hey, are you still alive? Are you? Oh, you're on live support? Shit. Let me give you a little defibrillator real quick. Hey, it worked, man. I got some views. Woo! And more dislikes.
Hey, there you go. All right, gentlemen. I'm out. I'm going to go to sleep. You two have a fantastic evening.
Yeah, I'm going to go beat my meat.
Yeah, Ginger's going to beat his meat. He's going to get the hammer out, and he's going to...
Yeah.
Wait, well, that's
Going to
different.
do it to the song Freeze Ruin Everything.
Cock and ball torture. Woo! Let's go!
Damn. All right. Later, gentlemen.
Later.
What a way to end. Ginger's got to talk about his CBTs. But yes, we went for a good while, but it was nice to be back. It's nice to be able to talk and not cough every 5 seconds. Instead, it's every 30 seconds, so we're getting better. So I'm out for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.